The following advertisement has been paid for by the big guy Ryback. Are you hungry? You know I'm so hungry, big guy. Hey, Mark, what brings you here? I'm just here to hang out with my all-time favorite superstar of all time. What brings you here? Well, I'm doing a paid advertisement for Feed Me More Nutrition, available at feedmemore.com. Big guy, that is music to my ears. Do you tell the people about your Ice So Hungry grass-fed whey protein isolate, the best tasting protein on the market? Wake Up Unlimited Energy, the strongest pre-workout on the market, and the big guy all-natural testosterone booster, my personal fave. Big guy, you're on to something with this Feed Me More Nutrition. It is some top quality stuff. Well, thank you, Mark. It is Feed Me More Nutrition, premium quality, the highest quality supplements on the market today. Available now at feedmemore.com. But wait, there's more. Just for being a listener of Conversation with the Big Guy, you can now save 10%. That's right, save 10% at feedmemore.com on all Feed Me More merchandise and apparel and Feed Me More Nutrition with discount code PODCAST10. PODCAST10. Podcast 10. Thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, and right now, I'd like to introduce...
Whoa. A guy who lost his smile. A guy who took his brand and walked away from millions of dollars. He hails from Sin City. Damn it! That's enough for you two! Shut up! You're I think he said we're fired. Shut up! Pat, slap my ass! It's time for Conversation with the Big Guy, pal!
Welcome to Conversation with the Big Guy. I am the big guy Ryback, and I'm sitting here with the one, Pat Buck.
We're back again. God damn it, forgot about that every week.
It's my new favorite thing of the show. Just I was practicing all week different tones. So because you got me to thinking, you're like, oh, that's a hard thing to live up to every week. And I was just like, shit, how many voices am I going to really have? But
different language every week.
I'm literally just looking at people with accents and like, okay, I'm good for a while. I'm not going to think too far ahead. So,
all right, I'm Pat Buck, and we're back on another episode of Conversation with the Big Guy. I'm really excited. I got a new microphone in front of me.
I know that's all you were talking about before.
I'm excited because I got to apologize to people before we stick to our format. But I know you could hear me move around quite a bit. I'm in Queens. I'm in a little room. I don't have quite the palace the big guy has where sounds just go through the wall, can carry out to the room. I'm in a little box. Sound is bouncing off all the concrete floors in my little office. But
yeah, I'm in my kitchen and the walls are open, so it's nice.
But I believe you have some things to mention, don't you?
Before I get into the actual plugs here real quick, wasn't there a fan, by the way? Was this because the guy, we'll talk about this in a second, maybe in more detail, but he hates it when I say the word supplements. In his fucked up mind, he hears supplements. And he wanted to write to you to complain about how I say the word supplements. And
yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, I was in speech class, asshole, for 2 years as a kid, for my S's. So I would like to think that I pronounce them very well now and not supplements. But
okay,
yeah,
Alex, let me explain that before we plug our stuff. So we get very kind messages, every now and then a complaint, to which I didn't send you this one, though.
From fucking Zack Ryder.
That'll never happen. That man will die a miserable death before he apologizes for, and you stood him up, so he's even angrier.
I can't be around him. I'll tell I can't be around the guy. Fuck his negativity. Zigman, if you're listening, I apologize. I'm like 2 for 10 hanging out with Dolph Ziggler when he comes into town. And Alex Riley was here with him. But Broski, who's just been doing nothing but whining and complaining as of late. I told you what the falling out and I used to love Broski, but you always said he's like negative, and like he sent me a thing bitching about the Zevia 6-pack was a coupon instead of the actual 6-pack.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, I didn't respond, and I just remember thinking, what the fuck is going on with your mind? That, like, you take time out of your day to text me to bitch about this. Fuck off. I don't have time. I'm not like the other guys. I'll just straight up tell you to fuck off. Like, grow the fuck up and be a man.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Take your coupon into the fucking store and go get your 6-pack. I'm sorry, broski, that they sent you a coupon.
He was so angry, and it's like, dude, just go. I'm like, first of all, like, it's just a free thing. I actually, at first, I thought it was an actual 6-pack that they sent, but I was like, oh, coupon's cool. But he's like, where do they sell this shit?
Financially, it makes perfect sense to send a coupon.
Totally.
Because the price of sending a 6-pack in the mail, and you got to figure if they get shaken or dropped, like the 6-pack can explode if they're not handled carefully.
And allows you to pick what flavor you'd like, too. You know, whatever.
And they got actually on their website, they have you put in your zip code, and you could find a store near you. So it's a good little deal. But enough of that. We'll talk about that later. Let's stick to the format here.
You don't want to talk about supplements real quick? Real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So anyways, I get this message, and this one I'm like, some people I'm like, are they fucking with me or are they just kidding around? And this one was not. So I get a message from I'll just call him JR because that's his initials, even though it's not it's not good old JR, but it's
who got me a nice little booking in Oklahoma. So thanks. Shout out to Jim Ross and his podcast. Tune in. I'm also on his podcast from several weeks ago, but I had a great time.
So this guy, JR, writes to us. He goes, bro, tell Ryback to stop saying the word supplements on podcast. Hate how he pronounces it. Thanks. And I wrote back, sure, now fuck off.
Perfect response.
And then he wrote, why the hatred? I was being polite. I was like, no, man, you took time to message. Because I think we both take this on sometimes where we're just like, certain things we can't let slide. And I'm like, I can't let this slide. He's like, you took time to message me, someone you don't know, to complain about a free product. You, my friend, are a negative Nancy. And he goes, I wasn't talking about you. I go, so you're talking about my best friend. That's cool. He goes, I love the podcast, and I am a big fan of both of you. Just when he says that one word, it's like fingernails going down a chalkboard to my ears. You know what I mean? It's like supplement. LOL.
Your response was great after this, I think.
So I said, oh, I get it. I'm just saying the fact that you messaged me, that by you messaging me that really means that you focus on the wrong things. Doing stuff like that just for being the jerk of it is counterproductive to what we try to put on this show. I'd never message you or a show I like because I didn't like one thing. He goes, yes, I see what you're saying. Sorry, Pat. I love the show and we'll continue to listen. I say, I accept your apology. Thank you, sir. He goes, no, thank you. And a big thumbs up. So we have this thing where we go back and forth. And when we have situations like this, I think this is a very good catchphrase. One mark at a time.
Yes,
we just convert
one mark at a time. And it is one of my goals. Like nothing makes me happier than when fans like message me saying, "Oh, I used to fucking hate you, and now I love you." And then it's just deep down, I want to say, "Fuck off, I don't need you." But the good in me accepts it and thanks them, and it's one mark at a time. And even the girl you met, her, Allie Parker, nice looking little lady. She on the independent circuit. She messaged me a while back, and like we're friends. And she was just like, she found a tweet she made or something saying, "I really can't stand Ryback." And wow, yeah. And then I literally go, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And then she was just like, I don't know what I was thinking. She was like so ashamed. I go, "You should be. I'm a great fucking guy, asshole." All right, enough with that. Let's get into the plugs for the week.
Go for it.
All right, guys. For all fan mail, please send your fan mail to the big guy Ryback to P.O. Box 752-740, Las Vegas, Nevada 89136. Feed Me More Nutrition, available at feedmemore.com. Also available at I'llPumpYouUp.com. in Las Vegas at Spartan Nutrition and Pumped Up Fitness Nutrition on Sahara and Rainbow. More locations being announced soon. Wake Up, It's Feeding Time, the motivational book by the big guy Ryback. Available on Amazon in paperback, Kindle, and coming soon to Audible any day. I've done the recording. We are just waiting for them to upload it on Audible. So audible.com, check that out daily. I will be making announcements on that. Also, our friends at Audible are doing a special first book free 30-day trial at audibletrial.com/big guy. BIGGUY, guys. audibletrial.com/big guy. Check that out there. And then, hey, Pat, is my mouth watering?
I don't think so. Why?
Because all I can think of is the nation's leading fire-grilled chicken chain, El Pollo Loco, has been... Keep this professional. El Pollo Loco has been a longtime favorite of the big guy, and we need you, the listener, to help make El Pollo Loco stock great again. From their juicy fire-grilled rotisserie chicken to their chicken fajita burritos, they have something for everyone. Top it off with some salsa roja or avocado salsa and tell them the big guy sent you. El Pollo Loco, fuck yeah.
They changed their catchphrase to fuck yeah.
I had to get that in there. Guys, check them out, for the love of God. And then shows, go ahead and plug your stuff, and I'll plug my upcoming shows for the following week after.
Okay, March 30th. We just got through a show, but March 30th is the biggest show of my life. WrestleMania weekend. That Thursday, we're kicking off the action down at WrestleCon. You can see Ryback versus Colt Cabana, Swoggle versus Grado, Cody Rhodes versus Brian Cage, a whole stacked card. Joey Ryan, BWO, myself, and much, much more. WrestleCon.com, Thursday show. Get your tickets. Second row, couple still available. And if you people don't get your tickets, you can witness a live suicide the next day because I will be very upset and probably take my life. But then after that, you can go get your autographs from Ryback and Stu Bennett at the formerly Wade Barrett, now Fake News Bennett, at the old table signing from 10 o'clock onward on Friday and Saturday. Again, you can go for the pre-sale for that at WrestleProOnline.com. You and Mr. Fake News are neck and neck with the pre-orders for the signing. Doing pretty well.
I'm happy with that because I've been on the circuit for a while here. So
these are all international guys. Coming in for Mania.
Well, I was curious. Is this a Smoky Bones scam you're running on my pre-sales here?
I'm gonna change the numbers a little bit.
I'll just be sitting there and because it's there'll be like 100 pre-sales and then I won't know where that all went. What? Huh?
Where did Pat go?
Yeah, then you kill yourself. Where's that at, by the way, the WrestleCon?
Oh, fuck. Orlando, Florida. One's at the Wyndham Hotel. The signing and the show are different areas. I should probably know a little bit better. But,
I was wondering that, too, just to promote it on the stuff, because I was like people are going to be there. They'll see us and come up anyways, hopefully.
Yeah.
Except for the ones that hate me where they walk by snickering.
Should be a good time. And because of our, we mentioned the audibletrial.com/big guy. Here's the most important part. Because of you guys and because of our good sponsors, go to podcast.study. It'll take you 2 minutes of your time. Fill out a podcast. Mention us. You can click the buttons. Tell us what you like. It helps our advertisers. Helps keep this show free. Helps pay for our wine. Helps throw a little money towards the great editing team of the Shining Wizards podcast. Go check them out. Of Eddie, who's the captain. And I told Dave Destruction I'd give him a shout out too. I forgot to say that for his Destruction 101 podcast. However, shout out to our listeners such as LD Pablo on Twitter, Kaiback, Mike Malero, and Cameron JTV. I saw you guys. You messaged me that you took the survey. We will plug you guys if you do. Just hit me up on direct message on Twitter. We need at least 100 of those to be strong. I'm not sure where we're at, but screenshot it, send me it, and I'll plug you on the show.
Thank you, guys.
And that's all I got.
All right, and I got a couple shows coming up this week. Friday, March 24th at the Newark Pavilion in Newark, California, BTW March of Champions, 7:30 p.m. bell time. I believe a 5:30 p.m. signing with the big guy Ryback. I'm taking on the masterpiece, Chris Masters. Tickets are available at btwrestling.com, I should say. the following night, Saturday, March 25th, at Salinas, California, at the Salinas Pal Armory. BTW Pro Wrestling. I am taking on Sin, and tickets are again available at btwrestling.com. So come on out if you guys are in the area. And that's all for me this week.
Great. So how was your week? I saw you on Sunday, which I'm sure we'll get to, but anything going on before your events on last Saturday?
No, I got home on Monday. It was got home a day later this week. Usually come in on a Sunday. So I almost missed. I was messaging you. I almost missed my flight back home Monday because of the connection with the plane. I technically should have missed it, but the plane got delayed like 10 minutes or 15 minutes just by default and for no real reason. And because I went to go, got stuck on the runway. And I got off the plane, and the flight was leaving in 2 minutes, supposedly. And I go to the ticket counter in San Francisco, and I just said, I need to rebook a ticket. I'm going to miss my flight here. We just got in. And he goes, no, they got 90 people left still to board. He goes, it's about 10 minutes away. He goes, you should make it if you hurry. So I ran with my bags. I walked for a few minutes at a swift walk, and then I was just I really panicked because I knew once you get stuck at the airport, it could turn into getting home at 1 something to getting home at 8 at night. And I scurried my big guy ass to the gate, and I was the last one to board, and I made it. But I also had a first class seat, and I did not.
Really?
Yeah, with all my airline miles and using the airline cards, which I highly recommend to people to switch their credit cards over to the airline cards because it gets you free miles, and it keeps me in really good status, even though I don't fly quite as much as I did as when I was with my former employer. But I didn't want to miss having that first class seat either, so it worked out well. But it was a busy, short week with everything going on, and got a boxing session in this week, which is a lot of it's amazing to know my boxing. I've noticed my hips from working on my hips with my rehab guy in Australia, my punching power has increased significantly. And the trainer he said, he goes, your hips are fucking have freed up. And so it's cool to be able to because all your power comes from your hips and everything. So funny story on that years ago. I don't know if I ever told you this. As we know, I don't talk to a lot of people. I keep my friends very close, the few that I have and the ones that I talk to. Otherwise, I'm a lone wolf, to a T. And I remember one day I was really happy I did my first boxing class years ago, and I just wanted somebody to message. I probably bragged to you at one point, and you're just used to. You probably blocked it out, and you don't have any recollection because you listened to me on 4X speed on Boxer, but. Wade, I was texting at the time, and I sent him this pretty lengthy text on how I had done my first boxing session, and I was so happy. But somewhere in that, all I did was share what my trainer had told me, where he had made a comment of punching power like Mike Tyson or something along the lines. and he probably tells it to everybody, right?
Sure.
And especially he wants me to come back and But I felt good about myself, and I wanted to share it with one guy, and I probably two, you and Wade, and I shared it with him, and he literally messaged me back laughing. He goes, look at how much you just put yourself over in this message, which I've called him out on doing to me, by the way, because we're good friends, and that's what you do with your good friends is put yourself over relentlessly because you could get away with it. And he I've never felt shittier about myself. I don't think I became very self-conscious of after that, what I said to Wade, because he laughed in my face. And thanks a lot, bad news, fake news, Bennett.
Man.
But yeah,
I'm waiting for that day where I can, I don't know, man. I still think at some point you will fight. And for some reason, I think it'll be a boxing match. I don't know.
I love boxing. It's one of my favorite things, so legitimately.
Be the next Butterbean.
Just in my 47 years old debuting and completely out of shape. But in my mind, I got a right hand like Tyson. And I go down to Mexico and get some easy wins to get some confidence. And then then come back and get the old KO. What about that? That'd be crazy if WWE brought back Brawl for All.
Oh, man, what a disaster that was. I loved watching it, but fuck, no payoff.
Does Bruce Pritchard ever talk about that on his podcast?
There's a whole great episode about it, about why, like, what it was made for. I think they predicted, I don't know, that it was supposed to be a vehicle. They thought Dr. Death, that JR was like, Dr. Death's going to murder everybody.
Yeah.
They had no faith in anyone else, and then Bart Gunn fucking won it all.
What was the reasoning? Did they and like Bruce Pritchard? That's one. Like I listened to that on the road last week. I caught up on a couple episodes, and I love the whole format of that because that's when I was a kid growing up, and like we were like, so I can see like they do a good job on how they cover everything. And he was there. He was in the mix. You know what I mean? Figured in heavily. And but what was the reasoning behind thinking Dr. Death was gonna?
JR was convinced that he was the toughest man in the world.
Okay.
And like that was one. I don't know if that was why it was set up. I think it was Vince Russo's idea. I could be wrong, but him being in that, they're like people had their favorites to win.
Did the guys get paid extra for it?
I don't. You know what? You'd have to go listen to that show. I have no idea.
I'm gonna have to go listen to that this week. That's something I'm actually really curious about. That's a shit position for. I remember Godfather was in it. You know.
Yep.
But he recovered. He fucking. That was the end of like the Supreme Fighting Machine, though, if you remember. He luckily transformed into the Godfather and fucking pimps and hoes and fucking went higher than he. Because I always liked Kama when I was a kid. I loved the Supreme Fighting Machine Kama.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You're a Kama guy?
Oh,
wow.
Because
I've never heard that in the history of wrestling. I've never heard anyone say that.
Really?
Yeah.
I might be partial a little bit because he lives in Las Vegas also. He actually lives nearby me. And if he works at Godfather's, he runs the play at Cheetah's strip club here in Vegas, actually. So if you're ever, if you're a fucking mark and you're in Vegas, swing by Cheetah's if you want to see the Godfather. But he used to go to the 24-hour fitness that I went to on Cheyenne and Rainbow. I was working out there since I was really young. My parents would bring me with them. And I'll never forget, I saw him one day on the elliptical. And I was like, whoa, that was the first wrestler I'd ever seen, met in person. And I never bothered him. I never went up and asked for a picture and an autograph because I don't understand any of that. But my way, as I wanted him to take notice of the big guy when I was a little guy, I would go into the bench room because there was a clear window from the free weight section to the ellipticals and all the machines and cardio.
Sure.
I would get on a bench, and I've told him this story, because I've done shows with him here, and we've gotten a good laugh out of it. And I would put as much weight on the bench press that I could handle, and I would do like fucking 20 sets of flat back bench.
And how old were you at this time?
I mean, I was like 14 or 15 years old.
25 years old?
Yeah. No. Fucking 3 years ago. And in my mind, he was like, fuck, who's this fucking strong fucking kid?
Sure.
This up-and-comer.
You need a tag team partner.
Yeah, like this guy could give me some legs later on in my career. Wow. And I can't tell you, this went on for probably years. Of never talking to him, always seeing him in there, and just, it could have been leg day, but Kama was in there doing fucking the elliptical, and fucking the big guy was on the bench press. It was,
oh my God. This is the best story.
Dude, I can't make this shit up. And so I always, even before that though, I always liked him. I just thought he was, at the time when I was a kid, I didn't even know he was Papa Shango.
I was about to say, that was like I was a huge I wasn't a fan of Papa Shango. I was scared to death of Papa Shango. Scared to fucking death.
I had a period where I didn't watch as a kid, and that was during that period, I believe.
Really? Okay.
I watched it super young and then just lost touch with it at some age until 10, 11, 12 maybe is when I kind of got back into it because of my buddies down the road. And I was like, oh, I used to watch this. And I remember it was like I just got hooked right away. So, but man, I always liked him. I love the fact that Kama though, like that's your favorite version. He's probably played 4, 5, 6 different characters, but Kama's your guy. In other words, I love the word supreme. So I'm very simple to please. Like little things like supreme. It's just such a powerful word to me. And how do you get any better than the supreme fighting machine? He's in a league of his own until Brawl for All, and then he became master of the pimps and hoes. And God bless him. I love him.
Smart man. Actually, speaking of Papa Shango, I remember one time, not related to this, but sort of related to this. I went to a Halloween party with my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. I don't even know if we were engaged yet. And you have to go in full gimmick. So I was dressed as I think I had a Captain America outfit on. She had an Iron Man thing on. So we go to this party, right? And while we're there, we see this dude in the corner dressed as Papa Shango. And I'm like, holy fuck, that's impressive. Like, a fucking dude went out of his way to dress like Papa Shango to this regular real world party. So I'm like, I got to say something to this guy. So I walk up to him and I'm like, hey man, that's a great costume. Like, you're a big wrestling fan? And he's like, no.
Really?
He's just like, he tried to play it cool as if like, oh no, I'm like, I'm like, you're Papa Shango. You're dressed as, he's like, oh yeah, I guess so. I'm like, this is fucking bullshit.
You just don't accidentally dress like Papa Shango.
Like, exactly.
Shango
I could understand like a random Hulk Hogan or like a random like Stone Cold, but you're fucking Papa Shango. You have the skull that's fucking shooting smoke or has like fake steam in it. It was really embarrassing. We just walked away in defeat.
Yeah, you're watching every week with your action figures if you dress. Yeah, like for sure at that point. I never dressed as a wrestler as a kid, I don't think.
Never?
By the way, looking back, I never was the guy. I remember the kids wore the shirts to school and like, I think I was like, because I remember like and you look back, it was kind of like the nerdy kids who used to wear the wrestling shirts to school. Or
absolutely.
When you're that age, like, and looking back at that adolescent mindset, and they all wore the NWO shirts in high school. And I remember like, I never wore any, but I remember I bought one wrestling shirt my entire childhood growing up. And it was
Batista.
Just...
Batista.
I love Batista. I don't know why. Just saying, like, Dave is such a nice guy, and I played on my Snapchat like last week going to the gym his theme song solely for you, just in case you watch my Snapchat just to laugh, because it for whatever reason just makes me laugh. No, it was the Kurt Angle. It's true.
Really?
Gray T-shirt was the only wrestling shirt I ever bought, and. Yeah, the rest that were given to me, like after you got into developmental, and they give you shirts, and then like whatever along the way. And then I remember when I won the News 13 challenge. We never really talked about this. I don't think did I ever tell you I won I've talked about it in interviews where I won like 20 something tickets when WWF World Tour de Force came to Las Vegas. Did I ever tell you that?
Yeah. And then I think you brought a bunch of people with you, and was it you rung the ring bell or something like that? Was that it?
Yeah. Well, I won the News 13 news contest you had to write a letter in why you should win the 4 front row tickets in their big prize package to meet a wrestler of your choice, and get like this gift pack of free WWF merchandise. And I wrote this letter like a page long. I think my mom still has it. She probably put it in my scrapbook, but they like called us back and said, your letter was the most passionate letter we've ever, like you really love this. And like, I always thought that was cool at a young age to like.
Do you remember what you wrote?
I'll read the letter next time. I'll look for it and we'll read it on a future podcast.
Just I Heart Razor Ramon.
Just, yeah. Hey, yo, this is the little guy. No, but it was just a really little fucking mark. And, I'm kidding. A fucking mark is only for the negative fans. But I brought all the neighborhood kids and we like interchanged sitting in the front row during the matches. And I remember I was supposed to meet Razor Ramon. That was my selection. And he wasn't there when they brought me to the back before the show and whatnot. And that I got to meet Henry Godwin though, which was cool.
Okay.
But it was a fun time, and but I always remember that's why I always like meet and greets is because I remember I always make sure I'm at my meet and greets no matter when I was with WWE or like because as that memory as a kid I remember and he messages me from time to time and Scott Hall and he's a great guy and who knows he could have had whatever reason, he wasn't there. But I remember I was really disappointed, and because I really wanted to meet him.
Yeah.
But but it was good because it had a positive effect on me. Is I always try to make sure on my I remember how I viewed that as a kid, so I always try to give that experience when kids meet me, if that makes sense. Because,
sure.
But I'm glad it happened because I understand them a lot better, so.
No, I've seen you at the meet and greet. Whether there's a line around the block or there's just a couple people coming up, you've always been.
It's usually a line around the block, unless it's BBWF where it's a very limited crowd like this weekend. But we'll get into that.
That's what I was saying. I was seeing that little short line, but it worked out okay. It was also
their
MSG.
highest attendance ever, asshole.
Okay, all right.
That focus on the positive.
Sure. And
Swoggle had like 3 people in the building.
I messaged him too. I was like, man, both, because he went first, and then I wrestled the next month, and then you wrestled the next month. I'm like, fuck, Swoggle, you couldn't get more than 5 people in the crowd. Poor guy. I'm just kidding. I love you, Dylan.
He's really hot at that now.
I know. I'm bringing him in. He's coming in for a lot of things in the future.
Is he wrestling? He's like determined to have indie cred now, right? That's his like.
Yeah, I think that
I want to show them that I belong.
Well, I guess I don't blame him because people don't. The wrestling world probably doesn't know that Swoggle's good. You know what I mean? He can wrestle.
Yeah, we put him over on, but calling him possibly the greatest midget of all time.
Yeah, he can do some shit. So I think he wants people to know that because there's always a place on any wrestling show for him, I think. So,
do you think that his falling out with WWE? I picture the movie Elf when they bring in the master story writer, the little fucking midget, and he's a real arrogant piece of shit because he knows he's the best storyteller, children book writer. And I picture Dylan. Do you think Dylan in his mind he's like, I'm the greatest fucking midget alive, and goes in there with a real fucking ego and negotiating?
No, I don't see that. I don't see that happening.
No, I think they just hated him
humble.
because he was just an asshole to him.
Poor Dylan.
I love him. He's one of my favorites.
I do too.
I enjoy him a lot. I just give him a hard time.
We talked about, what else did we talk about? Gosh, I forget.
I was going to tell you today, I joked with you about this earlier. I was driving and saw an ice cream truck on my neighborhood street before I came into my gated community. And it was just poor ice cream man driving around. I got to thinking, I was like, what a dying business. As we were kids, I remember the ice cream trucks being such a big thing, and all the neighborhood kids, we would always be outside playing whatever sport it was, whatever the season was, roller hockey, basketball, baseball, basketball, football. And we all would gather up our money and buy ice cream. And whereas now, everything's computer and technology based, where staying indoors is what people do now. And granted, people still go out, and again, it could be, maybe it's because I'm older and I'm indoors more and I don't see it as much, but I don't think I'm that far off. But I was just I remember messaging you, be the ice cream man has to be a very, it's not a competitive job anymore, I feel like.
No, I feel like it's going out of style. I remember, same thing, it was always the highlight of my day, especially in summertime. And I remember on our block, in Queens, we had Mr. Softy. I don't know if that's the same one near you. Do you have a name of your ice cream company?
No, they were always just the shady trucks with a guy just selling ice cream to kids.
I just remember our guy was Mr. Softy, and he was an older man. He had to be in his 50s, maybe even 60s. So I picture he was retired from another job. And now looking back, I bet you he just bought that ice cream truck just to thinking it was going to be a... But he was always fucking miserable, and I remember...
He wouldn't be happy with today's environment.
I remember young Pat Buck would always go, my favorite thing was getting a milkshake. And
whoa, he made milkshakes?
Oh, he made fucking milkshakes, man.
Whoa,
yeah,
I don't remember that.
New York, the ice cream trucks around here are no joke. So basically you have a giant cup, do this, because my first job, I worked at the Frozen Cup. I'm an expert in all ice creams and Italian ices.
Okay.
So does a little soft serve, then he pours in the whole milk and mixes it up and maybe tops it off with a little chocolate syrup, and you're good to go.
Oh, whole milk, too. That's a delicious milkshake.
Oh, it was beautiful. And it was always $2.75. But the thing is, it was the hardest thing for him to make. So anytime I ordered it, he was fucking pissed off.
Oh, because, he has to clean that shit up afterwards, right? He just wants to hop in his truck and collect money. He has to sit there fucking washing little Buck's fucking milkshake fucking
So everyone else would order like popsicles and like ice cream cones, and little ginger Pat Buck would be like, "Can I have a milkshake?" And he always be like, "Yeah." And like he'd make it. I remember he had a lot of he was a gray-haired man with a big mustache. He looked like fucking a little bit like Einstein.
Okay.
And he had huge chest hair coming out of his like white shirt. And I used to get scared because when he'd mix the milkshake, there's not a lot of room in those trucks, and that chest hair would get a little close.
I could just see like zooming in on the chest hair just all on the top of your milkshake, and one stray old weak hair just falls out into your milkshake. I used to get the WWF ice cream bars when they had them, and also I remember getting the Green Slimer Ghostbuster bar and the Pink Panther bar were my three go-tos on there the majority of the time. Looking back, so I just remember that like. I remember Pink Panther being really popular for a while.
Man, those ice cream bars, I mean, when they, got that little bit of a resurgence with like Punk mentioning them, I just don't understand the mindset of like WWE. Like that could have been people do, like there's a market for that. Like, I don't know, like they were popular.
Did they ever sell those after that whole thing happened or no?
I remember that. I don't believe so, because I remember whatever company made them. I don't know if it was Haagen-Dazs. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this. But the company that did make them specifically put out tweets saying, "We're not bringing this back." And It was very I was like, oh, that's a real brilliant marketing thing. You have a demand from people. People would probably order those nowadays with you can ship frozen ice cream and frozen products to each other. Like
that would be one thing I'm really shocked that I never really thought about that. But a WWE ice cream bar again, and they've released a cereal for New Day and stuff, like they could do anything and whatnot, and it's just their entire fan base is parents and kids essentially, and it just seems like that would be a layup almost. But maybe when you're dealing with food and everything, it's a whole other. Maybe it was just
sure, or
they just didn't want to deal with Vince anymore. Vince, you only get a.
He was mad. He was mad at outsold Ico Pro.
Yeah, no. With knowing how Vince likes to handle his merchandising for giving the talent less than $1 for a $30 shirt, he probably was wanting to give them pennies for the $5 box of ice cream. Haagen-Dazs was only making a nickel per fucking box of ice cream, and they just said, "Fuck this. We don't need. We can make whatever the fuck we want." Guarantee you it had something to do with that. God damn it, pal. What do you mean you want more than a nickel? Fuck. So, that's actually, I feel like I'm pretty close with that.
I'd love to know. I'd love to know the real reason. I wonder if a Bruce Pritchard would know that. Why did the ice cream bars go away?
Bruce, if you could, that's something I would like to know too. I think a lot of people, what's the deal with the ice cream bars? Did Vince just was he too fucking greedy? Because I feel like knowing Vince, he might have been a little greedy. And Haagen-Dazs doesn't play around with that shit.
Speaking of that, I had a show on Saturday with actually, ironically, Bruce on it. So that was my Saturday night. Friday night, I start kind of losing my mind, organizing everything for, I've said it before. I think people on this podcast know I'm a promoter for WrestlePro in New Jersey and New York and spreading out in Florida, whatever you want to say. So I had him in, and we had a not as highly attended show, maybe about 450 people, but it was a pretty good night.
That's not bad at all. I mean, he's not an active wrestler. He's a behind the scenes talent. I mean, he's a well-known personality now. His podcast is doing amazing, right? So,
well, yeah, I mean, not just him on it. We did have a lot of. I try not to cater to, because here's the thing: a lot of you guys are hardcore independent wrestling fans, and I've said it before that there's two types of promotions. I feel like there's the ones that book, just the names, and they don't really care about the undercard. And then there's people that just book a independent show, and they won't use any former, notable television names.
Yeah.
And I feel like I try to put myself kind of in the middle. So, on this show, we had Bruce, we had Joey Ryan, we had Homicide, we had all my regular guys. And, it was a decent show. I expected a little bit more attendance-wise, but it's just so much work, man, to put together these shows. Like, the setup is never-ending, and a lot of little details go into a production like this. But overall, it went pretty good. Show went pretty long, but, that was... normally I'd have you... People were asking, like, "Oh, where's Ryback?" I'm like, "He's not on the show. He's booked in Maryland."
I don't just do every show for you. It's hard to. You've done a great job with the bookings, and it's getting busier and busier. I keep looking, like, the schedule's filled up moving forward. Like, it is.
Yeah.
If people like, that's why, like, and I wish other wrestlers knew, like, and that's why I wanted you when I left. It was like, I could have handled this all myself, but it's such a headache because I knew everything else I had going on. I would rather pay a manager to do everything and organize everything. Essentially, you're WWE for me, and they give me my stuff, and then I work, and like it works. We work really well together, and it's the guys that leave there. It's good to find somebody that I think it's that understands the business, and I knew that you understand the business, you understand promoters, you know how things work because you do it. That's so, like, I'm like that with, if I am going to go learn something new, I don't tell myself, "Oh, I know everything about this." You find and surround yourself with the right people that help you learn, and eventually I'll kick you to the curb and then fucking
and then take on someone that gets way more money.
No, I'm kidding, but like it's you got it. It's worked out really well, and like I love it. Like the whole process has been it's because I want to do it. It's fun. So
yeah, and it's rewarding on my end too. It's not something I thought I would step into, but I thought about this a lot. That a lot of guys that leave WWE, and I won't name names, but a lot of them leave, and everybody across the board, even if they've been wrestling there 5, 10, 20 years, they're stepping into a world that they're not really familiar with unless they've done it before.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of guys, what happens is there's kind of a wave of old school, I guess you can say, I don't know if you want to call them managers or agents, and there's guys like Bill Behrens and Kirk White and a lot of guys that handle, a lot of different talents, but there's been nobody really from, doing newer stuff. Well, there's Brian Wittenstein. He handles a lot of Cody stuff. But I was like, you know what? Like, let me try this out. And it's been incredibly because at least I know, I'll just say this, a certain notable WWE talent, not so recently, maybe within the last year, left WWE, and they were saying to us actually about how, their bookings are falling apart because they don't, people don't give them deposits and then they cancel on them. They don't know who's good, who's bad.
Yeah.
It's a big time waste because they don't have anyone doing it. And, that's, if you can do your own stuff, that's great. But if you can, it really depends on your amount of exposure too. Like, if it's not worth having an agent, you got to do it yourself. And some people did it tremendously. Like, someone that comes to mind, that the two people that come to mind is probably Hawkins and Luke Gallows, who I think were tremendous at doing their own stuff.
Yeah.
Post their thing. But there's a lot of guys too. I'm concerned about a lot of people if they leave or if they go, because they may just, it's overwhelming and you don't know who's good, who's bad, who to trust, who's gonna fucking play game. I mean, we see it now. We play a lot. We got to play a lot of games with people sometimes. A lot of fucking hoops to jump through.
Yeah, you tell me some of the things that go on, and I was just like, I'm glad I got you to do like it would. I don't have time for that. It's just wasting my time, and like there's nothing worse that I hate is a fucking liar. So it's good that you are the one that has to filter through that shit, and you have to tell me about it, but it saves me a lot of time. So,
and I just encourage. There's a couple people out there. I think me and Sanjay Dutt were talking because I think he's probably, we talk about we're very, very responsible, and there's not many guys that are responsible, but he's starting to kind of test that out too, and he would be a perfect person. But some people have fans doing it, some people have their family members doing it, and that's a fucking nightmare because they don't know the business. So it's like, you can rub people the wrong way, or you're asking for too much or too little. I've known guys ask for too little. I know guys ask for too much, and they just fucking. And 6 months pass by, and they've only had maybe one booking a month, and they're just, they hate independence and they quit.
Yeah.
So
I've loved the experience. I told you, like, I actually this week got that Grimm's Toy Show. He was on the show, the Grimm, that BBWF.
Did he talk to you?
No, he just said hi, but I remember I've seen a couple of his videos, and somebody made a thing like, oh, you should bring him into the. I didn't know he wrestled. I thought he just made funny videos. And
he was, before you go on, he was an independent guy who I think trained a little bit. Not much of an athlete. He'll openly tell you.
I think he'll be the first to admit that.
But he started his own thing called Grimm's Toy Show. And I think he has like 400,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Like
it's entertaining. I've seen a couple. It's entertaining.
It's his full-time job. And like he does all this stuff up here. In fact, it's so popular. When I went in to speak at Lauren's school, there was 3 different. I've only did one episode where I was actually training him for his big match with Hawkins. And 3 kids at that school recognized me from that show. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Really?
And I've been on past year with Global Force stuff when I was down there doing shows and I was with Hawkins again. More kids came up to him, recognized him from that than anything with WWE. Swear to God. All these Grimm's Toy Show kids watch that.
Does he have a backyard promotion? Is that what his...
Yeah.
This might end up because I said feed me Grimm and I made a thing if for the rate I would come to Grimm's Toy Show or his wrestling thing and wrestle Grimm.
You would do that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Because he asked me at the show and I swear to
for the rate.
It's he actually it's because I'm friends with Grimm and he's like, hey, and I'm like, I didn't even bother. Like, I'm like, he's stretching out right now.
I was stressed about having to pick up Fallah Bahh because my.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this Saturday.
All right.
How you fucking messaged me.
There's a couple things. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I'll let you.
Well, Saturday you're at MCW, and Sunday we were at the thing together. So whatever you want to talk about first, like if everything happened at MCW.
No, we'll talk about MCW after because I want to talk about that Facebook Live thing that they put up. That we'll go into detail about. But yeah, Sunday was a hell of a day.
It was a hell of a day, and okay, so just to kind of conclude my Saturday, because I know people kind of like hearing about this stuff. So we have a show, and it's a lot to set up. We built our own equipment here at WrestlePro, which I'm very proud of. Kevin Matthews and his dad did.
Oh,
like,
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like when you wrestled here, you notice we have like the lights, and we try to make it as we're not NXT production, but we try to make it a show. Like it's a rec center that could hold like a high school.
How much money would you need to make it an NXT production, do you think?
Probably realistically maybe another 35 grand, 40 grand.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we built our own like little ramp stage that's like super high ends, all diamond plate. We have our own Titantron kind of little thing, overhead light built from scratch.
If a check just mysteriously showed up in the mail, would you change the name to Feed Me More Wrestling? I love
Is this a 50-50 partnership? Is this Shark Tank? How much of this business do I have to give up?
I drove around, and I'm sorry to cut you off on this.
No.
There's Kmart's are like all out of business now, like in Vegas. And I actually was just reading a book about all that, how the Walmart it caters to the one section of people that were the cheaper items, and Target's a little higher end.
Sure.
And Kmart tried to copy both and just failed miserably because it was just already a tapped market. And but like all the Kmart stores are all closed and very few of them are still around. But I saw there's one in like central Las Vegas. It is fucking huge. It was like one of the original like Kmart's in Vegas, and they have a lot of space. And I was just thinking it's in the areas older, but it's in like a very populated area of Las Vegas, and where it's like it's literally central Las Vegas. Where if I was going to open something, it would be right there.
So Feed Me More Wrestling would be in that venue.
And I literally stopped right there and looked at it and just was like trying to picture like, are the ceilings? Oh, the ceilings are definitely high enough. And like,
sure, I
pictured Feed Me More Wrestling right there, where like it was awesome. I'll do that from time to time and just stop and visualize. And so it's cool. And it's nothing happening right now, but it was. I saw it, but that would be the location because I don't see anyone buying that for a while. So but
interesting, because I mean that's what like, and I'll tie it back together because like MCW, they're homegrown, and I think you've wrestled there before. They actually run out of like kind of like a dilapidated, like, or not open anymore, Kmart flea market thing, but like it was a supermarket that they turned into a huge arena that's always set up for professional wrestling shows. They could fit they've legit fit 1,400 people in there, and I'm like, oh, I want that one day. I don't have that because I'm out of a recreational center that fits the same amount of people, but it's not my building. That's the difference. I rent. I don't own that place. And they rent too, but
you're
like,
in a different location where, I mean, you live in New York, or it's a little different area.
You know, for 4,000 square feet, you know, it's expensive. Or excuse me, Creative Pro's 2,500, and we were paying like, you know, a fucking lot. You're paying like almost like $100 or more per square foot. Yeah. So anyway, so we set up. We have a lot of work, and we get done at like 1 a.m. And then I realized, oh fuck, it's daylight savings time after the show, and I'm also a little beat up because I don't know if you saw it. We were real marks in our match. Took a lot of crazy bumps.
When was this?
So Saturday. So it was me, Kevin Matthews, who I'm proud he just signed with Impact Wrestling, and Bokara.
Congratulations, guys.
And versus the Hit Squad and Homicide. So
you told me about this, yeah.
So we knew we had to have a crazy brawl and like just close the show. So Moth had this idea, well, let's destroy the ring like Nexus style and pull back the fucking, you know, the heels are in control at one point. We do a bunch of shit. We fight around the building, crazy spots.
Yeah.
Pull back the canvas, pull back the rubber padding, and Moth was setting me up, and we end up countering it, and I'm out, and they superplexed him onto the fucking boards. And then we had stuff after that. I know, you're not a fan, but it was fucking wild. And I'm like, holy shit. So the next spot, me and Homicide, now we expected the boards to like just kind of rumble. They completely split apart and they open up.
Yeah.
So like I'm standing on it like, holy fuck. And me and Homicide have a thing where we're exchanging shots, and I was going to counter his cop killer, the vertebreaker, and then give him the kill switch. And we're literally like fighting each other. It was like on a pirate's plank. Like we were just like balancing. We do that, and finally we hit a little botchamania. So the last thing was heels were in control again, and one of their guys, Steve Mack, was going to undo the top turnbuckle.
Okay.
I stole this from Sino Numaga. And he was going to swing it at me. I was going to duck, kick him, hit him with the turnbuckle, and then choke out Moth with the rope.
Yeah.
We couldn't get the fucking turnbuckle off. It was way too tight.
Wait, so was somebody supposed to loosen it up before the match or what?
No, we just fucking went out. We should have. We fucking should have.
Wait, so the ring is set up to wrestle in, and you didn't have anyone loosen it up and gimmick?
Nope.
And like you didn't like because if WWE is going to do a spot like that, they'll send the ring crew up the match right before the match to like loosen up that corner or something to where, and you'll just stay away from it during the match to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that wasn't us. Got a lot of shit going on. So I'm like,
you need to know all the details how to do that. It's
not only that, like we thought about this, and then right before the match, I go, well, do we have the tool that can like take the thing off, like the bar that can help? And we're like, no. And I'm like, all right. Also, do we have a knife in case you guys can't get the canvas off? So I run around, I get that. They put it in their boot.
You running around with a knife.
Yeah, just like, here, take this. And Bruce is watching on the monitor like, what the fuck is going on? So
wait, did you guys do this to impress Bruce?
No, we did this because we had to close a show, and we're indie guys, man. This is what we do. We just do stupid shit.
I think you were being a fucking mark for impressing Bruce.
I think we knew that wouldn't impress him. He'd be like, what the fuck are these guys doing?
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say. It backfired probably.
So he can't get the buckle off, and so much time has passed, probably like a solid minute and a half. I'm like, fuck. So I go up behind him, I pull him away, I try getting the buckle off. I can't do it. I'm literally like cramping, trying to fucking turn this buckle. And I have a wrench in my hand. Then I just look at Moth, I'm like, fuck it. And I just start hitting Moth with the wrench. And then I'm like, I don't have anything to choke him out with. I'll just put on the crossface or something. But I realized that when they destroyed the ring, for some reason, in perfect situation, the ring skirt was across the ring, hanging by a wire. And I was like, oh shit! I just grabbed that and pulled back and won the match that way. But
Wow.
yeah, that was an awkward encounter. So
Bob wasn't at the show, was he?
he was. He stayed the whole fucking show. He never does. Normally he gets cranky and leaves early, but he stayed, and he stayed till the end. I was so proud.
What brought him out to the show?
I don't know. Apparently, in his he likes to pretend in his own. I don't talk to him, so like he talks to
Thank
Matthews,
God.
but like he pretends in his head that like we're friends, and then we're not friends, and then we're friends again. So he came to the show, and I remember like we didn't open doors yet. We normally open doors at 6:00, and there's fans outside. There's a pretty big line outside, but for some reason Bob is just sitting there. The doors haven't opened yet, and he's just sitting there next to my wife. And I'm like, what the what are you doing? Why are you in here? He's like, I needed to sit. I'm like, you don't work here. You can't come in.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck it. Just go inside. Sit down. And he went inside and sat down wearing his Pat Buck guy shirt.
Poor Lauren. What the fuck? You're a
loves,
better man than me for letting him around your wife.
Oh, what's he going to do? He hates my wife. She took him away from, took me away from him. Oh, so here's getting into the next thing. Speaking of that, little segue. Do you know there's a movie coming out on Netflix? Me and Trent were watching this, talking about this before, called Tickled, where it's about the same thing as Bob, but there's a tickle fetish, and it turns into this big, fucking crazy story. I don't know why. It was just in my brain.
No, wait, what?
So apparently, like just like Bob likes full Nelsons, there's a whole fucking world out there that enjoys tickling.
Okay.
That like they have like tickle chambers, and like this is a big fucking thing.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Wait,
it's called Tickled.
Wait, you get tickled and you get jerked off? Like, how does this work?
I don't know what happens after that, but like there's like teams of ticklers, and there's like this. They're apparently
teams
it's
of
a
ticklers?
Yeah. It's like a sport. They claim it's a sport, and it's just a big fucking crazy thing. I know it was something that me.
Of course, Trent Beretta would know about this.
I think our buddy Silva found it first and then sent it to us, and we're like,
Trent's
shit.
awesome. I love Trent. He's one of my favorite people, but he's a very unique guy also. So I didn't know that is fuck. Shout out to the ticklers in the world.
So anyway, after the show, I'm dead tired. I'm sore. I realize it's daylight savings time, and guys got to go to the airport. Like Joey was a flight. We had Shark Boy in town because I love adding just random shit. I don't know if you ever watched Shark Boy.
Yeah, I've seen him. Yep.
Just a fun I was getting away from doing the typical things I do. I'm like, let's just be creative and for storyline's sake and interchange people. So Bruce's flight was really early, and even though I have a lot of guys, students, not a lot of them live necessarily right near me, and who the fuck is going to volunteer? Not a lot of guys are willing to volunteer to pick up someone at 5 a.m.
I'm surprised. That actually says a lot about you. I didn't even think of that, but you could very easily designate a guy to probably do that. But
I could
lead by example.
But it's just like, you know what? I'm like, I got you. I'll pick you up because guys will tell me like they want to do it or I'll do it, but then I know that they don't. I get annoyed.
Nobody wants to get up early and do that. I mean,
yeah,
but unless it wouldn't be bad for certain talents. You know,
wouldn't be bad for any of them.
No,
fucking. I'm like, this is how you network. So anyway, absolutely. I go home. I sleep half an hour. I get up. I fucking pick him up, drop him off, come back. I sleep for like another hour or so. And then I'm like, I got to go do ring crew because the show you were on.
Big guys in town.
One of our promotions we work with, a proud partner with BBWF. I bring the ring there. So, and I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, I'm up already. I go to the gym, get a little workout in. I cramp up when I'm doing my legs. And I'm like, let me leave, go do ring crew. And on that show, it was you against Fallah Bahh.
Yeah, that was like my first small indie show, I think, because the rest of them have all been pretty good sized as far as even
venues and stuff. Yeah,
just the venues and even even some of them where there's usually and they range like from the Northeast Wrestling 3,500, whatever it was. And then some are 3, 4, 500. Some are 6, 700. Like MCW the night before was between 6 and 700. Like, and it was great. And it's a packed house. And this one was like maybe 100 and something. Would that be right? Like it was maybe.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Like it wasn't a lot.
Might have been over 200.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know either. And but it was like they typically don't draw a lot of people there, right? So, but it was. I don't know. It was definitely an experience, but they treated me great, and it was a good time. But Fallah Bahh is a 425-pound, like, and for lack of a like, and I took like Yokozuna type wrestler as far as his build and body type. And I actually retweeted, if you can check out my social media, a picture of shell shocking him. But he came down to they had me in my own room down there, and. He came down and we were hanging out before the show, and I was like, "Look, I'll get along with you right now, but when we go to that ring, I'm gonna fucking kick your ass." And for all the marks listening, and when he's like, "What, you think you could pick me up?" And then we got into a competitive fucking like, "I know I could pick you up, asshole." And so he's like, "Well, why don't you try to pick me up?" And so I tried to pick him up a few times in the back, and it wasn't happening. And,
oh wow!
And he was like, "Have you ever been able to not to pick anybody up?" And he was really like cocky about it. And I go, fuck you. I go, I can get anybody up. I can get you up when we're out in that ring. I bet your fucking bottom dollar. And he was like, I'd like to see you try. So anyways, I didn't want to pick him up, and then he's a heavy guy. Setting him down was my biggest concern, because I had to explode up, and then I want to set him down, and he's barefooted, and it's just, I'm very cautious with people's health. I don't want to ever. I honestly, like, nothing is worse than, like, you don't want to hurt another human being unwillingly, unless it's like a real fight situation. And then you want to fucking kill him and drop him down a pit of spikes. But we got out there, and I got him up no problem. And I had the last laugh on that. But no, it was a great time, and I enjoyed wrestling him. He's actually, it always amazes me, guys that size, because I'm really big on conditioning, on like burpees and like. And obviously, muscle expends oxygen at a much higher rate. But he's 425 pounds.
Yeah,
he's not like a 6 foot type guy. He's under that. He's very condensed, and he'll tell you himself he's bottom heavy. But he moves fucking great out there. And,
yeah, man.
It was a funny story. It was a low ceiling at this for this event. And I went up.
Let me explain before you say that, because I love this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So a lot of these buildings, you'll see a lot on independent things that a lot of places book buildings, and they may have lower ceilings. So what we have to do is my ring, I have two types of ring poles. So we call them the low boys, or pony ring kind of thing. So we put literally the ring is not high; it's right off the floor. And even in there, if you're standing in a ring, even if the ceiling is 12 feet high, which it probably was, that's still not like a whole, lot of room to do anything. No. So that was a situation you've been in, and I probably should have warned you beforehand.
No. I mean, yeah, you should have. But it makes for. I love how you're like, well, we can turn anything into something on the podcast. That is now my new motivation in life. Is just fuck it, book me in a backyard wrestling for the rate. We'll talk about it on the podcast. Because I think it's really funny. Like, I have the supplement line and everything going on, and the book, and like, so it's not like I'm hard up for money, and like this is like, oh, poor Ryback. Even though there's some fans out there that would like, oh, poor guy, and like, I'm just wrestling because it's fun and it's great income coming in while I got my business. But it's it's fun to like look at this part of my life, and like, it's something I never got to experience before, and I'm having a really cool, like, I don't mind. I remember my first shows coming in, I felt really weird, like, wheeling my merch bag in, because that's like, before other people sell your merch for you, and then you get like, you get like $1 on a $30 shirt, and like, I was like, who the fuck cares? I don't give a shit. This is giving me extra money while I'm here. This is what wrestlers did before, and like, I am living that experience, like that life, and it's on the weekends, and it's fucking fun. But so we get out there. We had a superplex spot. I actually, when in our conversation about picking him up. He was like, "You think you can superplex me?" Or something along the lines of that. And I was like, "I bet you can't superplex me." And he's like, "Oh, fucking watch me." So then, of course, in the match, something comes up where the superplex, I'm in prime position for it. But earlier in the match, I go up for it. Guys, I'm just kidding. Wrestling's fake. We talked about the whole thing in the back before we got up there. Fucking sorry to ruin the party. But I go up to the top for an axe handle. And so double whammy. I've gone up to the top a lot throughout my career, and I've talked about it before. I got the gimmick left foot now. The balance isn't the best, but it was my left foot's on the turnbuckle. Even when I go up with one foot, like I got to like hold on to the ropes because my left foot just wobbles when it's not on stern ground, sturdy like ground and solid ground, I should say, where my whole foot is on it. And my right foot slips off the metal turnbuckle, and I my foot, like I don't fall off the turnbuckle, off the corner, but I fall, my right shin scrapes all the way down from the top, the third buckle to the second. And it fucking, like, it ripped my leg all the way my boot. I have like still got like blood, like it bleeds every day. And like I had to put like I just scraped my leg. But it was, so like I was like, fuck. Like, you know, everyone goes, you know, when somebody, and you've seen it with like a lot of guys, they'll slip, and like I didn't fall, but I fucking, I want to fucking hit the axe handle. He's standing in the ring looking at me. So I go to the top, and I don't even think about, because I remember Fallah had mentioned something about the ceiling being low, but it shouldn't have been an issue. So I'm not even thinking about jumping off the top. So like I scrape my shit, and like I like hurry to get to the top to hit the axe handle, because it already was taking longer than I wanted. And I jump, and thank God the ceiling wasn't concrete or anything like that. I would have knocked myself out. And the match would have been over right there. Fallah Bahh defeats Ryback. and, you know, rightfully so. But it was the ceilings that pop up, and my head just hits the thing, and I didn't feel it when I did it, but I knew I hit something. And then I heard the chuckles in the crowd, and I delivered a perfectly, you know, well thought out axe handle, and then I hit my head and go stupid, because I obviously forgot about the low ceiling. But just another day on the life of the Indies with Ryback.
Ryback indie cred. I thought that was
a fan posted a video of that. Actually, somebody had that exact spot recorded.
Of course,
I was like, "What the fuck are the odds of them turning on the camera?" They probably filmed the entire match, and but they. I was like, I laughed. It brought a chuckle to me. But the night before was really, really cool to MCW. They run a really solid operation over there. And I did an 8-man tag. Easy night, easy day at the office whenever you're in an 8-man tag. And,
what do you prefer? Do you like going in there and having these lengthy, you know, because you and Fallah put some time in versus, you know, does it matter to you or no? It's all the same.
I like singles.
Singles?
I've never liked tag matches. I just hate they're easier, especially, and I've done tag matches on TV where like all you're doing is the hot tag for the comeback, and it's a nice payday. Like when, you know what I mean? When like up there when you're going every day, but these I'm going once or twice a week. I kind of like doing the singles because I don't get to wrestle 4 or 5 nights and I'm happy about that. But I also, when I'm doing an 8-man tag, I'm also not working really. I like to be able to do a few things, and I try to do something different every match. And like an 8-man tag's kind of, it's a little different, and like it's just where you have so many guys that want to get in, and you try to I've always tried to have the habit of not do too much in an 8-man tag. Do a few signature things or a couple signature things, and tag out and let everybody kind of have their deal. So, but at the same time, I'm being brought in, and these people, you want to make sure you give them enough also. So, and we did that, but it was, they did a cool little thing with a Facebook Live where they filmed me right before I went out.
Yeah, I saw that. Mm-hmm.
And it was cool. I get it. And like, man, my sister messaged me though, because I shared the thing. I saw it, I go, that's cool. And I share it on my Facebook, and my sister like messages me the next day, and she goes, "Hey brother," and I always call her "Hey sister," and she's like, I saw your Facebook Live thing. That was cool. She goes, what the fuck is wrong with wrestling fans? And I said, what do you mean? And she goes, have you seen the comments on the thing? I go, no, I didn't even. I look at usually, I see my social media because I like Twitter and that stuff, and Instagram. I'll occasionally smoke out fucking idiots on that. But like, I go and look at it, and holy fuck.
Yeah, man.
The amount of negativity is, and I'm glad there's people on there that speak up, but like, I'm just like, what is going on in your life where you feel the need to like talk shit about somebody doing what they love and having a great time by their own choice?
Yeah.
And like, and then, but like these people just, and she goes, they say shit that's one, not true. And she goes, they don't even know you and they'd have no way of even knowing. And I go, I know. I deal with this. I go, it's not a lot anymore. I said, but when I had to explain to her, you know, when you reach a certain level in life, you bring like negative people feel the need to say really bad things about you. And it's something that I've had to deal with for a long time, but it's just, I read some of them and like, I went and blocked them on there. It's like, I went out of my way to like click on them and block their fucking thing. Like, I was like, I don't want this person to have any exposure to me whatsoever. Just horrible. Some horrible comments and like people talking about like, oh, how hard up for money is he? And like, I'm laughing because it's just, it's like, but what if I was? What if I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, God, we need to have a really in-depth conversation about social media on this. And if you're taking the time to post negative things to people, you probably need to reevaluate your life. And like, seriously, like,
I think that in a weird way, like Twitter has some real deep hatred and people that say crazy shit that they wouldn't dare saying to someone in real life.
No,
but
and
Facebook,
there's no repercussion. There needs to be.
There is repercussions. Like, there should be a Twitter police in a weird way. I hate to say it, like, you know, I get that freedom of speech, but if you can't go up to someone and say certain things in the street without something happening or getting in something would happen. You need to be held accountable. And Facebook Live, though, for some, I think because I think a lot more people are tied into Facebook. It's more popular, obviously, I think, than Twitter. So that, because I've streamed stuff. I've streamed my matches, your matches. I've streamed a lot of things from WrestlePro, and the comments that come in there, holy shit! Like it's another level of ignorance. It's on another fucking playing field. It's crazy what comes out of that. Like, I mean, these are actual people's accounts. These are parents. These are, you know, some of them I saw like are military people. Kids. It's crazy.
I had a message, no joke, this week from an assistant police chief who had read, and we needed to, I told you, like, so one of the problems I've noticed too, and usually the hate things that I'm getting now, it's not that much, but it's usually after the podcast comes out, is somebody will read a headline on one of the dirt sheets, and like what it just, I want to tell people, you got to understand the majority of these things are clickbait, and they come up with headlines and things to try to get you to click on it and to drive traffic to their website, because they make money on the advertisements and everything like that. And like, they're not putting out truthful information a lot of the times. They'll put out the portion and not include the entire sequence of events that lead up to that portion. And when they try to, I've always had this stigma with me where I feel like they want to make me look bad. And it's horrible. But this guy is an assistant police chief, and he went out of his way to read one of the headlines and then react negatively towards me to a headline. And it's just so disappointing because, like, most of the time I'll click on a profile if it's a really, really bad comment, and it's always the same type of person cut from the same cloth. And what I mean by that is one chromosome above being mentally handicapped. And what I mean by that, mentally handicapped people are the nicest people on the planet. If I don't know if, with all the WWE meet and greets and all the great fans that I've got to meet, people that are mentally handicapped are the sweetest, most genuine human beings in the world. They're like little mogwais, like Gizmo from, like, they're just like, they're happy.
They're happy.
For an analogy here with this.
No, I like it.
Wrestling, the fucking marks, the angry, negative wrestling fans are like the gremlins, like You know, when like after you put water on Gizmo and he multiplies and like he
Out comes Spike. Out comes
where they still like look friendly, but they're really the most evil, fucking disgusting fucking creatures on the planet, and they're one chromosome away from being mentally handicapped. But they somehow God gave them a little more, where they have this hatred in them and this negativity, and they hate themselves with such a passion that they can't stand people. And when you're successful, they hate that, and they want to respond. And they're all, you click on their pictures, they all look the same, they all act the same, and it's just like, guys, fucking stop, grow up, get off that, and go do something with your lives. And it disappoints me because like the human beings are capable of so much good, and like it is overwhelmingly bad on so many levels, and we need to have a more in-depth conversation on that. But it just really, it's so disturbing, and like my family members have to read that stuff, and it's like, fuck. I don't mind. I could deal with it. I could block the assholes. And I like in my chiropractor, and like people see it and they're like, "What's wrong with people?" And I go, "Brother, everybody deals with it. From the people that love me might be sending Kevin Owens the worst tweets in the world, like, and vice versa. Like, it's just something that, like, and it just needs to fucking. There's no need to send negative shit on social media. Just live your life, and fucking, if you don't like something, don't like it, you guys. But you waste your time, and that's just, it's like you help nobody. And like, imagine your employer or somebody that you respect looking at that, and like, what are they going to think of you? Like, Jesus, what a piece of shit. Like, you wrote that about that guy? Like, what's wrong with you? But I don't know. I wanted to touch on that a little bit this week.
No, I completely agree. It says if someone doing that is not set up for any sort of success, because if they, whatever job they do get, people look at your social media these days. So it takes one click, like, holy shit, this guy we want to hire as a banker, but he's cursing out every WWE personality, saying inappropriate things to divas. I'm not going to hire this guy.
That's something I think to anybody who's out there that is in a position of power, whether it be management or owning your own business, and you have employees working for you, you should thoroughly check their social medias. And like because I kid you not, the moment I see something like that, if somebody's working for me and that's fucking fired, not even talking, get the fuck out of here. What's wrong with you that you feel the need you could be like that on that? Like, it's just people, and I think too, you said on social media, people being held accountable. I remember when I was younger, like on a lot of like the lifting forums and stuff, people would get points, and like you can get rep, like for like good posts, and for negative posts or bad posts you get thumbs down, or like, I wonder if there was a way, but like you can't just leave that to chance by other people, where if there was a social media police, a great position for a big companies like this, easily to hire people to monitor this stuff. And not to say you're going to catch everything right away, but maybe they hire social media police where they can negatively, if they give you a red dot for every, like, where when you see something like that from somebody else, you're like, well, everybody can clearly see this person's a miserable fucking loser. So,
I think also there should be more verification systems for like someone signing up for whatever account. Like, maybe it has to tie in. I mean, I don't know what to do about kids, but say it was 18, 16 years and up, where they have to give a driver's license and have that be accountable to what they say and do.
Absolutely should. I think that's a great idea right there. And I think as we evolve as a society, because social media is so new, there needs to be other measures taken just to fucking filter out a lot of it and get people need to be held accountable for their actions and whatnot. And it's just, there's no need to be like that, because anybody with a winning mindset doesn't think like that. And it's just unfortunate in the media that's spewing out all the bullshit on TV. That's all, driven to get their whatever they want focused on, and their message, and negativity sells, and most people sit in front of their TVs and waste way too much time and watch negative bullshit, and they're angry at the world, and they just you got to knock it off, quit watching TV, just fucking live your life and be the best you can. Like, if you think something negative about somebody, just don't fucking say anything. Go scream at your fucking wall, whatever it is. Like, to take the time to write something like negative to somebody, you're a fucking loser. knock it off. So,
All right. I think on this portion, maybe we can take a little break. Maybe
absolutely.
A little refill.
Regroup, refocus, and come back hot.
And refill.
We'll be right back after this.
Hey everybody, Pat Buck here. I love soda. I really do. But the only soda I'll touch is Zevia, and I'll tell you why. While other sodas out there contain enough sugar to send you into a diabetic coma, or have artificial sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose that are linked to cancer, with Zevia, you know you're getting something natural, clean, and 0 calorie. Zevia is sweetened with stevia, a miracle leaf that's naturally 0 calories and 200 times sweeter than sugar. Stevia has been consumed for thousands of years in the South America, and Zevia was the first 0-calorie soda on the market to use stevia instead of artificial sweeteners. They revolutionized the soda game. Not only is Zevia naturally sweetened, but their drinks contain no artificial ingredients, no artificial coloring agents, nothing fake. Plus, stop beeping at me. Plus, they're non-GMO project verified. With Zevia, you get a safe and frankly delicious soda that you and your family can enjoy guilt-free. Zevia offers 14 different flavors of soda. I like the cream soda the best. 4 flavors of sparkling water, mix it with vodka, and 3 delicious energy drinks. I want you to try it for yourself. I really do. So here's what Zevia and I are offering. For listeners of Conversation with the Big Guy, free 6-packs. If you live in the United States or Canada, all you have to do is go to www.zevia.com/podcast and sign up to get a free 6-pack. In a couple weeks, you'll get one in the mail. Once again, that's www.zevia.com/podcast, where you can sign up to get your free 6-pack of Zevia. Simple as that, and I guarantee you'll end up loving it. Enjoy the show.
And we're back.
Okay.
Sweet.
I thought he said I'm going to bring us back creatively. I was waiting for the creative.
Wait, no, I didn't mean to bring us back. I just said, no, I'll bring us back. I was talking about the wrestling. Sorry.
That's funny. I was like, oh, that's it? That's all you got?
That's fucking Ryback for you.
So we got a little carried away in the beginning, and we didn't get a chance to do the review of the week, which we like plugging here on the show. And we like to encourage people. Excuse me. We had roughly about, a good dozen or so reviews this week for our iTunes people. We appreciate that. We may not read every one of them, but I see you guys and thank you guys very much. So I like to pick a couple of them and then let you just have the final verdict on which one's going to be this week's winner.
Last week, I think you picked last week. And
yes, I did.
The person, Willow Tree Angel, did you get the email I sent you?
Yeah, that was a big, long breakdown. It was very wordy.
She didn't want anything.
Nothing.
By the way, nothing, which is in the very kind of her, because she doesn't really need anything right now. And I have the email still. I haven't gotten around to replying, but I will do it here this weekend. Actually, tomorrow when I fly out. But yeah, it's thank you guys for the reviews, and she had a great story, very long, great story. But I read the whole thing, so I read it in the gym actually.
Nice.
It was, we appreciate your guys' feedback.
So one of the ones says, X Feed Me Moron from JCT 9595.
I think I might like him already.
All right. There was a point where I wasn't a fan of Ryback, and I assumed this would be a slander podcast on the WWE. However, in the last few months, it's become one of my favorite podcasts to listen to, and I very much enjoy Pat Buck as well. You can tell the words of both of them come from a genuine place, and they bounce off each other as well. Also, as someone trying to help better their body, the tips about general health and working out have truly helped. So I can admit, although I haven't always been a Ryback believer, that now I have had a newfound respect for him, and Pat Buck has been a great voice to hear from on a weekly basis. Thanks, guys. I'm JCTOKK on Twitter.
Awesome. Very nice review. Thank you.
Another one, kind of similar topic that you struck on. Don't judge a brick by its color by OD9. I must be honest, I was initially skeptical of Ryback being able to muster up a coherent thought of his appearance. I was skeptical of Ryback being able to muster up a coherent thought based off of his appearance. Got it.
Before you go on, I'm going to say one thing really quick.
Sure.
This is the difference between me and every other muscled up guy in the world. But not every single one, because I'm sure there's other people like me. There's people that look all big and jacked up and fucking this and that because they take a shit ton of steroids and growth hormone and fucking and some of them don't have to work out very hard. I have always been obsessed with being my best and working out. And yeah, I did them early on from an adolescent mindset, but like the reason I look the way that I do is because of my mind, and I've said that from day one. And I really think people need to open up their brains and just kind of see that not just because one guy's one way doesn't mean every other guy that looks like that is that way. And that's all I'm going to say on it. So.
Back to the review, I came to be pleasantly surprised at how entertaining this podcast is, with the hilarious stories, great tips, and the spot on live reads that now I look forward to.
Yeah,
every
your
Monday.
live reads are fucking money,
dude. I hate some of them.
Those could be edited. You stop and you go, Eddie, redo, and like you just keep reading. You go, oh god damn it, fuck, and then you keep reading.
I'll get through it. Keep up the great work, and please bring back Mark for life.
Dude, I sent another message to Snapchat today. They won't reply to me. So guys, it's Snapchat support on Twitter. Message them to bring back. You got to give them an example. Please use the Mark for Life face. I had to respond back to them. I go, this is a very serious request. Because it's a serious message, and it's a face of me and Fandango. I edited him with the face where it looks like we're FaceTiming each other with the Mark for Life face. And I'm just thinking like they're like, this is a bullshit request.
Yeah.
Like, and I had to let them know this is serious and like explain to them the character, and they won't fucking respond to me. So if you're listening out there, Snapchat support guys on Twitter, let's let our voice be heard.
Okay.
Drop the judge's hammer.
I have two more. One's kind of lengthy. One's very short to the point. Feed me more of this podcast from Billy Ocean 327. There's no shortage of wrestling podcasts these days. Nope. With all the great options out there, it's hard to pick which one to listen to sometimes. Until the artist formerly known as Ryan Reeves and his trusty sidekick Pat Buck, fuck off, I'm not a sidekick, got together to produce the best podcast going. Out of all the podcasts I listen to, I've never taken the time out of my life to write a review for any of them. I don't use social media, and I don't write reviews, but this show compelled me to. Ryback, although some may say brash at times, speaks the truth about health, life, and perspective. It only comes across as brash, though, if it applies to you and if you are in denial. Pat has a great voice for radio. Well, thanks, pal. It's okay now. And offers a different perspective than your typical wrestling podcast. Ryback has no problem peeling back the curtain and exposing the truth about his experience with wrestlers, WWE, and all the different aspects of the wrestling business. This is the kind of original content that most people would pay for, and luckily we get it all for free. Well, thanks, man. Unique views, health, workout tips, hilarious stories, behind-the-scenes facts, and much more make this top podcast easy to listen to. Keep up the good work.
He's the winner. We'll hear out the last one.
The last one, very short.
Okay. But the fact that he doesn't use social media and everything like that, I like that about him. So, because I wouldn't if I didn't have to. Like if I didn't have a brand and a business, and if before in WWE, like managing my brand, I would want nothing to do with it. I told you the times I deleted it when I was up there. Yeah. Happiest times of my life. Like it is, you'll be amazed how much you can get done. It consumes a lot of my time now with the management of it. And it's a necessity and it's great. And I love it. Mm-hmm. But the fact that he doesn't even use social media and took the time to post a review, that probably speaks volumes on what type of human being he is. So,
all right, last one.
Let's read the last one, and then I'll fucking pick the last one.
Feed me more conversation with the big guy from Chuy CHUY _3000. I gave my wife Ryback's favorite motivational quote of "Don't be a little bitch," thinking it would motivate her to cook, but it backfired, and now she left me. Came to realize I was just dreaming as I heard my wife say, "Wake up, it's feeding time." Thanks for a great podcast. So short, funny, to the points.
I really, really like that one too. Oh man. I'll tell you what I'm going to do this week. We're going to do a runner-up this week. He'll get the first prize winner was the one before.
Okay.
And he'll get his choice of a free Feed Me More Nutrition supplement and shaker bottle, or 2 El Pollo Loco $10 gift cards. The runner-up, though, will get 2 El Pollo Loco gift cards as well. So send me a screenshot of your iTunes screen name. And what were the 2 screen names again?
Billy Ocean 327 is the winner, and Choi CHUY_3000. You are the runner-up.
Perfect. And send those in, guys, and we'll get that stuff out to you. I'm really excited too. We just finished working on the label for Feed Me More Nutrition, which we're including. I don't know if I sent you the label. It's just a sample one, but we're adding all future labels on the inventory on all the other supplements. The blue Ryback in the singlet. I've been posting some stuff on social media.
That guy creating all that stuff for you, man. God damn, that stuff is awesome.
His name is Patrick, by the way.
Oh, hell of a name.
He lives in France,
Okay.
and he is the best graphic guy I have ever come across.
I look forward to all the things now. Like, I'm like, holy shit, some of these are really, really good.
He works on these. He sends me stuff daily. I kid you, like, it's amazing the things that come into your life when you need them. And I was in dire need of a really good graphic artist. And Mark over for you at WrestlePro, he like has a regular job and he's wrestling and he does great stuff too, but his time is too limited.
Yeah.
And for the amount that I need, even like it's just too much. Like, and I don't want to put it on him. And I stopped asking him because I know he doesn't have enough time. And when you work a regular job 8-10 hours a day, maybe more, I get it. And I can't rely on that. I can't expect him to be doing that stuff in his free time. And there was another guy here in Vegas that through a guy that I know, it like started making stuff and then he disappeared. I haven't heard from him.
Really?
Yeah. And
Wow.
I was paying him and we reached an agreement on everything and he just disappeared. And this guy's come along and he's helped me. He's a good guy. And he's a wrestling fan but he's an amazing graphic artist and I'm just I'm thankful that he's come along. Patrick in France, big shout out from the big guy.
Nice. So you're saying with the label?
Oh
Hulk?
yeah, the blue, not Hulk, blue Ryback in the singlet. Not the we've adjusted it. Now it is going to be featured on every label, and
Okay.
because I needed an image that really stands out, especially for like my marketing. And we're launching. I didn't talk about this earlier. We're getting ready to. There's another great guy here in the States that set up everything on Amazon for me, with the Amazon Fulfillment Center, and it's getting ready to go live next week. I got to ship them everything, and it is now going to be so everybody listening worldwide. Feed Me More Nutrition, the Feed Me More goal boards, the shaker bottles, all that stuff is going to be available on Amazon by the end of next week, hopefully.
That's awesome.
I should say. And it is with the Amazon, the free shipping, the Prime shipping on that.
Great.
Like it is, they take a percentage of the sales. That's cool. Like it is now, they are the largest retailer in the world. Things have already started off to a hot start. The amount of money that has come in with this and all that has been great. And the support, everybody's supporting the Feed Me More Nutrition. We are now going to a whole other level. I've gotten actually 2 more tanning salons in Las Vegas have decided to pick it up at Rio Tan. And we are working out all the logistics of all that. And my chiropractor is actually going to start carrying it in his office.
What, supplements?
Yeah.
Wow.
People are taking, and he's taken them. He's lost 48 pounds.
Holy shit.
It's the fat burner's not even out yet. Like,
Yeah.
that's coming out in 10 weeks. Shell Shock Extreme Fat Burner. The manufacturer already got back to me. He goes, "This is 2 to 4 times as strong as anything ever created," and it is.
Fuck.
It's all natural. It's
Yeah.
all stuff that I've always used, and so this is legitimately. I'm sharing the secrets I've used for years, and making them into formulas for the public. So it's. I'm looking forward to getting that out.
We've had a lot of good feedback on, especially, it's actually changed me. I told you that, I think, earlier today, like working out, getting that extra squeeze and kind of going a little slower. The changing the way I eat at Moe's or Qdoba or whatever burrito. These little things I've noticed, just, positive thing. I think we wanted to get into that right after we talk about, we wanted to get into the how to eat healthy. Was it fast food versions or like on the road?
I told you I wanted you to give me restaurants and challenge me and say, okay, we're this situation, this scenario, what do you eat from this place?
Yeah.
And because I've been to pretty much everywhere, and I got a lot of questions, and we got fan questions.
Okay.
That which there's one fan question that I will tie into all of that. But people ask me like how they should eat when they're on the road and whatnot. And it's like, I know, don't get me wrong, I like my chicken wings from time to time, but like I don't do carbs when I do them.
Yeah.
And there's a key to doing this. And there's really, you could eat healthy anywhere. You just have to know how to order. And you have to be determined. And it's a mindset that when you go to these places. So we're going to talk about that tonight and share that with you guys. Because like I said, we talk a little bit about wrestling. We talk a little bit about life and everything. This is kind of a multi-dimensional podcast. Yeah, we talk about a lot of the wrestling stuff because I'm a wrestler. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm not ever going to fuck wrestling. I'm not I love it. I'm a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot more to me. And that is a big reason for this podcast. And I truly... I love giving people entertainment and for the good fans out there that enjoy watching, but I want to help people improve their lives. That to me is greater satisfaction for me. So
I'm stealing that multi-dimensional podcast. I'm a big fan of that.
It's what we are. We're not just wrestling, and
Yeah.
I think that's important to. Yeah, we are wrestling. We talk about wrestling quite a bit, but we go a little further than that, and we're going to continue to evolve and go further than that.
We're also drinkers, and I don't believe we've plugged the wines we've been drinking tonight, which was supposed to be a ritual.
I wasn't going to, because I had to go to last week's red wine. I had an extra bottle of the Colby Red from last week. I told you earlier that I picked up yesterday because I saw it says most awarded wine brand, and it was the Barefoot brand.
Okay.
Which is not an expensive wine. I bought 2 big bottles, and usually I always go with a red wine blend. Mm-hmm. Last night I was like, I'm going to try a different wine. This one, it said deliciously sweet, and it's a red Moscato. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, that's a very sweet, almost dessert wine.
Yeah, and nothing wrong with it. It doesn't taste bad. Like, if I was drinking it with a dessert, which I don't eat desserts really, hardly at all, like maybe, I guess. But to me, it's just like drinking sugar. Like, I could just taste, it's too sweet for me.
Yeah.
I had 1 glass, though, and I tapped out, and I went back to last week's red wine. So,
Okay.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Frey. I went back to I've been drinking Tito's vodka the last 3 weeks.
Going hard.
Every single night. I needed a break. You know, it's a big, important weekend for us Irish folk. We're approaching St. Patrick's Day, so...
Well, I'm 10% Irish.
That's right.
You've seen my ancestry report I posted.
Yes.
I'm 70 for the people like English fans that don't like me. Fuck you. I'm 70. I'm 70% English. I'm one of you. I'm a fucking beer drinking, fun loving fucking 10% Irish, 7% Italian. I have a little bit of French in me.
Okay.
I think I was 2% Jew, which and I believe 2% Indian. So I've got quite a few things in the big guy.
Interesting. But
all you English people that boo me, fuck you. Booing your own.
So I'm drinking the organic Frey wine. I had a bottle left when I switched over to Tito's, but I know I'm not. Tomorrow's going to be, and this weekend, St. Patrick. I have a couple of St. Patrick's Day podcasts parties to go to.
Wait, what are you cheating on me?
I think I have 3 to go to, 3 events to go to for St. Pat. Actually, my wife is walking in the parade tomorrow. Because our whole family,
really?
Our whole family is a bunch of leprechauns. I'm not going. I don't hate parades.
I love that you have a great little, because with your situation with your father, and we've talked about that a little bit. Like, I think it's really cool that you got Lauren there. Lauren's like such a solid human being.
Oh,
and
sure.
She comes from a good family, and like it's good. It's funny how like negative things happen, and like you could tell like if you guys choose to have kids.
Yeah.
And would you continue to take the big guy test booster? It's very
Sure.
possible. That like you're gonna have a good fam. Like, it's good.
Yeah.
The fact that she can sit next to Bob, it says it all.
Nova said it best when he was at the wedding. He said that at one point he looked up at the wedding and he said this: getting her and her family was the greatest work I've ever pulled off. That he doesn't understand. So I agree with him completely.
I actually watched the match with Nova and Eddie Guerrero when Eddie was on the Indies.
That was a great fucking match.
Yeah, and Nova's jacked and like lean and like, and he's not a wrestler anymore, and he has a great life and he's happy, and like I've always gotten along with him very, very well. But like he was a guy that, like, back in the day, like, man, he was a good worker.
Good worker, could go. Yeah, he was
like, so, like, and it's funny, like, guys were like, you know, he did the Simon Dean character, and I liked it. I got it. Like, it was entertainment. But, like, he has his opinion on things and whatnot. But, like, you go back and watch his work, like, you're like, well, he knows how to work. So, like, a guy like that can have an opinion, I feel like. And by the way, he was in a high position for WWE.
Yeah.
Even, like, which doesn't just happen. It's not like they're just going to pull somebody, like, and granted, he wasn't there for a long time, but head of talent relations is a pretty serious fucking job, and it was. And but I like him. I always like him and Kevin Keenan. I actually enjoy. They get into their little bickering fest. I told them, and I will just tell them straight up, like, I could listen to those two fight all day long.
Oh my God, they were at the wedding. Yeah, they were just hammering each other, just insult
back
after
and
insult.
Forth, and like, or Nova will say something, and Keenan will say something under his breath, and like, I could hear it, but he can't, or maybe I could ride in the car with them. I wouldn't get shit done. I would be dumb as fuck by the end of it, as far as not learning about anything new in life. But entertainment-wise, 10 all the way.
I'll make sure they're going to be near. I'll make sure that our tables are together at WrestleCon.
I would actually. Is he going to be there?
Yeah, he'll be there. So BWO Nova will be there. Keenan's going to be at our table. So
yeah, I would mind him being. I would like that because he's such a good guy. I like him a lot.
So in other news of fake fighting, we wanted to talk about this because I think it's going to be a big deal and people are kind of underplaying it. But Lucha Underground's now on Netflix.
I have it paused right now on my TV.
Really? So what do you think so far? Do you enjoy it? Or
I love it, and I want to say congratulations to them, and I encourage every wrestling fan to. Netflix is a very, very powerful tool in the world right now.
It's the best,
and they've done me very good with their stock over the last couple of years. But I want to cancel my cable because I don't, outside of Shark Tank and occasionally watching like a Raw match or something. I don't watch TV all that often, and I don't. My mom though lives, I told you, in the guest suite of my house, and like she watches TV, and I told her because I want to cancel the cable bill because I just don't want to. I don't care to pay for it anymore, and I don't like wanting to turn like the TV. I could put on Netflix for the dogs when I'm gone, or turn on the radio.
Yeah, and
she watches a lot of TV like when she's off and whatnot, so I keep it for her. But Netflix, the level that they are at right now for Lucha Underground, very, very smart business move to use the power of Netflix to get more. They're going to raise more awareness to their brand on that. And whoever pulled the plug on that, fucking kudos to you. That is a brilliant move. Rather than like, oh, we need this TV deal and this and that. No. Netflix, your product, you will be seen by more people on that with the way, and people that have maybe fallen out of touch of wrestling. And not to say I agree with everything that they do on there. I think it's a different product.
It's different.
But not bad. It's good.
Yeah.
I get it. It's just you can't watch it and compare it to an episode of Monday Night Raw from the storyline perspective. But from the in-ring standpoint, the action is unbelievable. And I'll talk about this in even if we get into this, I wish guys would sell a little more and whatnot. But that's another conversation for another day. But just the fact that they are on there and getting more exposure, I think it's incredible. And it just, I smiled when I saw it. Like I saw a comment from Stu, Fake News Bennett on Twitter about Lucha Underground, and I was like, what? And then I went, and it's on there. 2000, the first season 1 and 2. And guys, if you haven't watched it, check out Lucha Underground on Netflix. It is well worth. And they're on is it the El Rey Network?
El Rey Network, yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy for them. There needs to be more options out there for everybody.
And I think what's even better about this is that hypothetically, if a lot of people watch, which I think they will tune in to it builds their brand, makes wrestling a better place, and they have things they need to get together. They don't have their live events down at all. They need massive help in that department.
Have they done live events or no?
No, not really. I mean, I think they've done a few. They did a tour, or they did something with Cricket Wireless was a sponsor, and they did a couple shows, but they just don't have their stuff together in that regard.
In all fairness, though, too,
it's tough.
TV is very important for fueling your live events.
Yeah, but I mean, they do technically have it. They did a lot of like, yeah.
The El Rey Network is not, like, I've never watched it outside of like PJ Black, Justin Gabriel telling me, oh, I watch my match and I'll go watch a match or two of his and I'll watch a Morrison or a Johnny Mundo match or a Cage match occasionally on YouTube. But like outside of that, I don't get the El Rey Network. I don't like I don't add it to my cable service. And it's like, it was like Impact being on Pop TV before. I didn't get it. I'm not going out of my way to order that to like.
It's tough, especially in the culture we live in.
And I'm in it. I'm in it. And like, so how many of your, like, only the hardcore fans are going to do
finding it?
You have to make things easy for people.
Those Mark for Lives are finding it.
But like I think for all businesses, you have to make things easy for people because we've evolved as a society where we want things as easy as possible.
And that's what the younger generation's like used to now.
That's all they know.
They don't like TV.
That's all they know. They're not used to the other way. So even though while we understand it and this and that, they haven't been raised like that, and you can't blame them. We evolve and we change and we try to make things better. We try to make technology better for us. And there's the negatives, but there's the great thing of adding time to our lives and this and that. And like, you can't knock them for that. But you want things to be accessible to the average everyday like just fucking person.
Yeah.
And this is a big move for not only them but for wrestling. And I was really, really happy. I know they messaged you or contacted you about bringing me in before. When that was another thing. I've seen comments from people like they're so. God, Ryback just keeps, speaking his mind, and none of these other wrestling promotions want anything to do with him. And no, that's not the case at all.
It's not the case at all. Yeah.
I'm busy living my life and running my business, and the independents have been great to me. I have no need to go. I don't care about being on TV and this and that. Like, and they made a fair offer to come in, but they wanted me to be locked down for a year, I believe. And it's not anything. I don't want to be locked down for a year. I don't want to be able to I want to be able to have control of my future and decisions that I make. And I like them. And I like the product they're putting out. And I've liked what I've seen so far on Netflix. So it's just the appropriate time and appropriate place.
And one thing I really like about this is that hypothetically, if people start watching, what's going to happen is Netflix is brilliant in a way where they will catch wind of that and go, holy shit, there's 1 million people or whatever it is watching this Lucha Underground show. It's pro wrestling. Let's start creating some pro wrestling content. And that's going to make the business a better place because it'll allow a different product to get some airtime, which is awesome.
Which I would like to accordingly pitch Broken Bones and Happy Endings, the true Ryback story, my broken ankle in my career in WWE.
Broken bones and happy ending.
We will go all out from the time I broke my ankle through all the massage parlors in Tampa and Clearwater.
And that's where it ends.
Yeah, it just ends there. It's about this man's addiction to massage parlors and Netflix money.
Oh man. Oh, so that's all I had on the fake fighting worlds. But I don't know if you want to move along to the fitness, the restaurant stuff, unless you had something else.
What was the restaurant stuff?
Well, like how to eat healthy. So before we get into that, I want to knock out the tips of the week. It's something I like to do every week. And for our listeners, just to kind of help you with your everyday life. And the book of the week is The Startup of You. Adapt to the future, invest in yourself, and transform your career, by Reid Hoffman, who's also the creator of LinkedIn. And with that, I believe you wanted to get the Audible plug in one more time. Yeah, for those that, if you're going to join Audible, like I say, if 180,000 titles to choose from, if you like podcasts, you'll like books on tape. We recommend that all the time. So go to audibletrial.com/bigguy. Gives us a little bit of credit, keeps the show going, and you can expand your brain.
Which, by the way, my book, Wake Up It's Feeding Time, is going to be out any day. We don't know the exact, and we're just waiting for Audible to upload it and approve it. And you can get my book for free with that, correct?
Yeah, that's as any title. First title's free, I believe.
Yeah, so it's that if you want to check out, Wake Up It's Feeding Time, I would greatly appreciate it, even if you get it for free. So, quote of the week, and this one again ties into the whole reading. I wanted to get this out there this week, is a person who won't read has no advantage over one who can't read. And apparently I can't read my own handwriting. A person who won't read has no advantage over one who can't read, and that is by Mark Twain. And I have that poster on my wall. I talk about it in my book a little bit. And whether you read, listen to audiobooks, feed your mind, feed your brain, guys. That's the only way we grow and learn as a society and as human beings. And with that, the fitness/nutrition tip of the week is learn core exercises with static holds for your back and abs. For example, lying Superman, to where you lie on your stomach and you flex your glutes and you lift your legs and you have your arms all the way in front of your body. And if you type it in on YouTube, you guys can see what I'm talking about. Lying Supermans, and you just hold. You can do it for reps, or you can do it and you do 15 to 20 reps, or you do it. I like to do it where I hold it for 10 seconds at a time, and then the last one I'll try to hold for a minute. And it just strengthens your core, your stomach, and your back. And it's more than just lifting weights. Our core is what drives us, and it truly, you develop an Iron Man-like core. It's not just ab exercises. It's things for your glutes and your abs. It will make you, it just improves your life in every way. And for a lot of you with bad backs out there, my back was really bad for a while. I was getting muscle spasms, and it was all muscular, and I didn't know what was going on. Mm-hmm. I have corrected the majority of this through doing rehab type exercises like this, core exercises with my rehab guy in Australia. And this is one of the exercises, and the Lying Supermans. Look them up, check it out. Do them every day, guys. It will change your life. Even if you don't have back problems, do it every other day. It will be something you will thank yourself for when you're older. And we have to look at the end game. I want to be 75, 80 years old, fucking, slap my ass, pal. Like I want to be on top of my A game. So, and you guys should too.
All right. So with that, let's start. I'm going to throw a couple. Any general tips before we start this?
What do you mean, as far as eating out?
So basically, this is just how to make the most of a situation. If you're not home, you can't cook for yourself, or if you eat,
Yeah,
fast food. I'll mention restaurants in here too. I'll make it a little bit more broader, and you tell me what you would do.
I did have one question from a fan. I don't know if we want to get into a few fan questions.
Might as well. Why not? Fuck it.
Did you have any on your end by tonight?
Yeah, there was a lot. I didn't write them down. I'm sorry, guys.
I got a few, so we'll go ahead and do a few, and I'll finish it with this last one that ties into the food, and we'll finish up with that for this week. His name was Assholes on Twitter, but he had a couple of letters bleeped out. And his question was, what was the worst side duty at Smoky Bones? And I remember there were a couple things that when we were there together, it was doing silverware always sucked, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of a shift, having to do silverware, because it was just such a, you don't make any money doing it. It's like you're not, it's just, but it takes some time.
But doing silverware, to explain for people who haven't worked in a restaurant. So basically, a lot of times at your table, especially at a casual dining place, you will have the wrapped up napkin with the fork, knife, spoon in it, or us with just fork, knife. We didn't have a spoon, I don't think, right?
I don't think we did. No, did we?
No, I think we only had a spoon if they had desserts. We were very limited on stuff.
That or the bowl of baked beans.
Yes, the Brunswick stew.
Yeah.
So, but when you're a server at the end of the night, you have to most time roll anywhere between 25 to 100 of napkins. And wow, I forgot about this, man. Holy shit.
No, and that's why I put this on there, because I knew it would bring up memories between me and you. Dude,
I would be a piece of shit though. And I would because here's the thing, when you roll them at the end of the night, you're fucking tired, you want to go home. But there'd be times in the middle you might not be so busy. So I'd roll them, but you're supposed to roll the silverware and then put them out there for everybody to use. But I would roll a secret stash and hide them in a cubby hole that nobody knew about. I
forgot about this, yeah. And we would actually go to it. You would tell me about it.
Yeah.
I think I would even start rolling some to help out occasionally.
Sure.
So that we had silverware, because other people, And let's be honest, like there's some people. I took serving very seriously in that time.
Yeah,
because
we both did.
I truly took pride in just being my best doing that. And it was by no means a highlight of my life or like anything like that. But I just, no matter what my job has ever been or whatever I've done, I've always just given it my all. And you the same. And but there's other people that work there that, whether they're it's just, they don't put that same effort in. So the restaurant would occasionally run out of silverware. And again, we adapt to a negative situation. Fuck it, we'll roll our own at the times and hide it. We're not going to share our, and then we made more money because our tables were pleased with our service. And I forgot all about that. So but that was one of the side jobs that was kind of, I just wanted to eat my chicken wings and my steak and go home and get drunk during that period and watch WWE 24/7. But
for me, it was, you'll remember this too. You got to hear. Actually, this is a good piece of advice for people. So, at the end of the night, we would have to clean under our tables and like sweep up out all the shit. And you would think
Jimbo Slice was too cheap to buy the good vacuum.
Exactly. So these our GM,
thanks, Jimmy.
Goddamn Jimbo Slice, we'd have a shark, but they'd break and people would break them. We'd need a new one, but they'd never buy one. So we'd have a fucking mini handheld broom, and you have to get underneath the table and sweep up all this garbage. But like,
and we had cornbread. That butter pecan cornbread from Smoky Bones was delicious. But fuck me, when people bring, when I have kids, if they go to a restaurant and they're making a mess, I'm taking them out of there.
That was my point. The Cheerios.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
Don't fucking if you bring your kid, you have a snack for him. Good. Don't let this fucking little asshole throw around Cheerios because someone's cleaning up that shit at the end. And if you are, leave a giant fucking tip. Because I can't tell you how many times we're in lunch, fucking mom with her 2 kids and little babies throwing fucking Cheerios like they're goddamn Frisbees, and we got to fucking clean it up after.
I feel like a lot of those kids are the kids that grow up to be the fucking marks. Just, they're the little gremlins from a young age, the little mogwais. They're not Gizmo. They're the other, like, God damn. They might look cute, but fuck, they are evil.
Give your kid 1 to 3 Cheerios at a time. Don't put a whole fucking tray in front of them. God damn it. That's my number one. That's
great fucking advice for parents out there and people. I would be happy ending the podcast on that. But I remember that thoroughly. I remember there would be when kids, they would leave the table and you would just be like, it looked like a tornado had hit the building.
Yeah. Broken crayons.
You would have to clean the table in the early beginning of a shift so that it was clean for the next person, but you knew you had to clean it probably once or twice more before the end of the night. So great advice, Buck. I got to, fuck.
What else you got?
This is from Asia, who's been a great supporter of me from day one. And she's a younger fan. And her question is, favorite match so far on the Indies? And I don't know if I've had you haven't seen nearly the best of me yet from everything. I haven't wrestled some of the best independent wrestlers yet, even though I've wrestled a couple, Mike Orlando, right?
Yeah.
Him, Moose, those guys, everybody, Brian Cage, those guys are all really, really talented, and everybody liked our matches. And those are 3 of the top of my head. But everybody I've been in the ring with, I've enjoyed wrestling, and I've been a little beat up, like I said, with a shoulder and back thing I had going on. I'm just I'm starting to really, really, really feel good, and I'm not to say I'm playing it safe or anything. I give it everything I got every match, but I'm cautious of doing certain things that I need to make sure that my body is as strong as possible moving forward. And I told you earlier, I'm actually getting, next week I go to an appointment. I'm getting stem cells injected into my shoulder joint for my right shoulder, because they told me I needed a shoulder replacement last year. Mm-hmm. I don't. I'm fine. I can lift. I press fucking weights like nothing, and I'm as strong as I've ever been for the most part. But I've played it safe with that a little bit. But I had shoulder surgery years ago, and the cartilage around my shoulder joint is gone. so my bone just cracks inside that shoulder joint.
Yeah.
Inside, and it moves around. So like when I military press or certain things, when I press heavy weights, that bone cracks on the way down and shifts because the cartilage isn't holding it in place. And that rehab guy in Australia, the muscles strengthening my rotator cuff and this and that, everything is pulled back into place. But I need to get those stem cells injected into my the joint in my shoulder. I haven't, if you notice on my independent matches, I haven't been doing any military presses anymore. And I can. I think I did it one match, and it doesn't bother me when I'm out there because of the adrenaline, but I'm just looking, I'm trying while I'm away and like I have this time right now, I'm trying to let my body I've pushed myself really hard over the last 10 years, and I want my best years to be ahead of me and they can be because with everything we have available to us, there's no reason I'm 35 years old. I can't wrestle for another 15 years. There's no reason why.
You're too young, man. You got to wait for that 15 years to be world champion.
Yeah. That's what it's show back at 50 and finally win.
Someone
over Triple H still wrestling, who's 75.
Someone put out an interesting statistic that the Universal Champion, 50 years old, Impact Champion, 40, Ring of Honor Champion, 46.
Wait, Alberto's 40?
I think he's 39, turning 40. Yeah.
Okay,
he might be 40 now.
Looks great.
He looks great. He looks great. Christopher Daniels, 46, just won Ring of Honor title. Goldberg, 50. It's just an interesting thing. I'm actually okay with that because I'm like, oh fuck, I'm 33.
It's just a portion. There's no right or wrong.
There is no right or wrong. Yeah.
No, and even Goldberg, like he's done an amazing job in the role that he's been put in, and like. His followers and believers believe in him, and he doesn't give you any reason to believe what he's doing. Like he looks great still. I'm happy for him to get that. Like it's a cool little deal, and his family gets to see it. So a lot of people that was another thing this week. I got a lot of hate mail because last week I raised the question that WWE brought back Goldberg because I left, and it was a very reasonable point. And it was something for you to think about and to like, well, why didn't they bring him back before when fans were, wanting this match and this and that? And like, I'm not out of my mind for saying that. But then you get people who do the clickbait and read a headline, and then they come back and attack me and like, you're not fucking Goldberg. And I even said to him, like, well, show me where I said that. Show me where I said Ryback is Goldberg. Because Ryback isn't Goldberg and Goldberg isn't Ryback. I am my own human being. And I've said that from day one. So it's like, fuck, guys. But you're dealing, again, with fucking gremlins, and they don't get it. So,
okay.
With that, let's last question before the final question.
Okay.
Garbage Time Point says, did you fill out an NCAA bracket? And who do you think is going to win the NCAA basketball tournament? And no, I didn't. I haven't followed. I love sports, but I just don't spend my time watching other people live their lives much anymore. I'm very busy, and I couldn't tell you any of the teams in it. And I remember being a kid and loving UNLV because they were in the Final Four a couple times with Jerry Tarkanian. But I've not, outside of, I'll watch the Super Bowl and maybe, Game 7 of the World Series or something like. I used to watch sports all the time as a kid. Not anymore. I'm too busy, and I just don't. And not to say I don't enjoy it and whatnot, but I'm busy living my life. So
I'm gonna go. Sorry, I was gonna say I was gonna go with Villanova. That's my pick.
All right, I've heard of them. I don't know who else is in it. So it's. But I wish the best for everybody. And I used to be, when I was a kid, I used to watch it all the time. So this ties into our last topic of the night, and it's from Chris. Hey, Ryback, I'm flying about 5 days a week for the government as a law enforcement officer. Do you have any good advice you can put out to help avoid eating airplane/airport food all the time? And so, like, being on the road and traveling all the time and whatnot and having to eat out of airports, the one thing that sucks the most out of eating out of most airports is how expensive it is.
Yeah.
I'll routinely spend between $30 and $40 at a Baja Fresh, the one in Vegas, or a Payway or one of the things. But again, every airport is different on the food selections that they have. But this kind of ties into what we're going to talk about on how to eat healthy at different places while on the road. And so if for me in the Las Vegas airport, I almost always go to Baja Fresh, which is a Mexican grilled restaurant. And I will either get burritos with double chicken and no cheese, so I keep the no fats, no carbs, not mixing your fats and your carbs. And where I'll do chicken and salsa and beans and rice, or I'll do chicken vegetable bowls if I'm going no carbs, or steak vegetable bowls, something like that.
Now, if you get the bowls, do you get the sour cream in it or no?
No.
You avoid it.
You avoid it. No, you don't. So that's just adding fat to add fat. That like, unless you're like a hard gainer and like cool because you're not mixing the carbs, but like you don't need to go past the animal fats is enough. You don't need to add any more to that.
Okay.
Like it's just going overboard. And it is, again, you're not mixing the carbs, but you're putting in a lot more fat energy in you. And I'm going to go sit on a plane for 3 or 4 hours. So I don't do that.
Okay.
Again, and like if I go to a sub place, so there's a Porta Subs or a sub place, I try to get a wheat sub and I'll go turkey. And if they only have regular mayo, I'll have them put just a light, tiny smidge of mayo just for a little flavoring, but not the regular big glob that they'll normally put on. And like vegetable, I'll do more vegetables on it. And so then I get my meat and my carbs, and usually the turkey is very lean at those places. Again, if there's nothing healthy there, the go-to for an airplane, if there's nothing healthy, is getting beef jerky in a bottle of water. And just no carbs. It's very low carbs. And and maybe get a couple bags. And you can always find a way to eat healthy. And it might cost a little more money and whatnot, but like you gotta just go. It's a mindset that you gotta believe you can eat healthy wherever you go. And so with that question, I'll let you go ahead and lead us into the final topic of the night.
Yeah, all right. So I'm going to throw off a mix between fast food and casual dining restaurants on what you would eat. So final segment of the show, what to eat when you're on the road. So I'm going to start off right off the bat, probably the most popular restaurant in the world, McDonald's. What would you do?
Typically, when I go to McDonald's, it is a low-carb meal to no-carb because they don't offer really any wheat bread or anything of that, which I wish they would. But even again, like their meats aren't the leanest meat. Even their chicken, I can tell eating their chicken, it's leaner than their meat, but it still has a little bit of fat in it. I always go grilled chicken salads. I will occasionally and when I go grilled chicken salads, I don't eat the croutons. Nothing like that, just a salad. I'll get an extra grilled chicken breast on each salad. I've even gone like 3 to 4 at times on grilled chicken salads, which isn't a whole other topic of fucking up like their system. I'm like, they're like, what? Like I will occasionally get a double quarter pounder with no bread. And
they do that for you?
Yeah. And again, some of them are more used to it where they'll like, well, do you want the cheese and the pickles and all that and the onions? And I'll go, sure. And then like there's others that are like, wait, what? No bun? And they got to like call the manager over and like, yeah, hit the no bun button. And the cooks will know not to put the bun on it. But it all depends on who's working the register. But typically, if you go to McDonald's, no carbs.
Kind of in the same alleyway. Let's go with Wendy's. You're at Wendy's. What would you do?
Which I prefer over McDonald's. I feel like their meat is just a little bit better quality. Not to say that it's much better, but it just tastes a little better to me than the McDonald's beef. And but again, same thing, grilled chicken salads with a light dressing, no croutons, and a double quarter pounder, or I'll sometimes get a triple stack with no bun. And I'll eat like the triple stack, and then I'll eat the salad at a show because there's nothing else around. I don't have time to go to a sit-down restaurant. So I go low carb and fats for that. And like, again, I would prefer the fats are probably a little higher than I would ideally want right there. But at the same time, it doesn't hurt because it is a no-carb meal, essentially.
Okay. So. Changing it up a little bit, you talked about this kind of, but what about a Subway? Because that's an interesting one to me.
Subway, again, they offer the wheat bread there. So I'll usually get a foot long, and I go turkey. Turkey is their leanest meat at Subway, from what I understand. And I'll usually do a double turkey foot long, and I go the low-fat mayonnaise. Never get regular when they have a low-fat option. And I usually tell them 2 to 3 lines of low-fat mayonnaise and a lot of vegetables, and I mix and match different vegetables at different times. And I'll usually get that with a chicken chop salad. And I ask for a light dressing, and they always usually have light dressings available. And if they don't, I get the sweet onion garlic or sweet onion teriyaki like dressing, because that is the next lowest fat option.
Okay. And for my own personal curiosity, how do you feel about sriracha sauce? Is that all right?
It's great, yeah. That's, again, hot sauces, salsas are very few, if any, calories. Especially like hot sauces like that are great ways to season your food without extra calories.
So what I normally get when I'm there, I get a 6-inch and I scoop the bread out. I get the bread gutted, and then a double chicken breast with sriracha, a little bit of banana pepper.
Wait, you can get the bread gutted at Subway?
Oh, sure. I get that all the time.
Wait, I didn't know this. I didn't even know this.
Oh, man, I'm open up. I should have my own goddamn conversation with with the other guy.
With conversation with Robin.
God damn it. But yeah. Someone turned me on to that, and sometimes same thing, just like you said with McDonald's. They'll be like, "What?" I'll be like, "Can you gut it? Can you just rip the bread out?" And it's like a little shell, but yeah.
Whoa, this is a way to go like less carbs there.
Sure.
Okay. I didn't even think about that.
That's my method.
All right.
All right. Kind of flipping it up. It's kind of in the same ballpark, but what about a Burger King?
Burger King, not one of my favorites, but I will typically keep the Wendy's and McDonald's mindset with either burger patties only and salads. But like the burgers, I'm not a big fan. Like, if I was gonna have like a cheat meal, I don't mind a little bit of like the burger patties with their bread.
Yeah.
But like their burgers alone, I don't like as much.
All right. So if you had to pick between Burger King, McDonald's, and Wendy's, which one would you pick? Wendy's. Wendy's is a big wrestling fan on Twitter. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
No,
the
I
one
didn't
that
know
runs the Wendy's Twitter account is a huge wrestling fan and tweets stuff all the time. It's pretty cool.
And we've talked about, I really want it. Like we've tried with El Pollo Loco. I want to tie the "Feed Me More" catchphrase into a restaurant, because like Subway had Jared, which obviously
didn't work out too well. Yeah,
didn't work out too well. But Jared also didn't have a hot fucking catchphrase, and don't have that background going on for me. So I would like to tie like Wendy's. I mean, let's talk.
I think we said it before, but say you're at an Applebee's. What's your go-to meal?
Again, Applebee's. So they don't have a lot of healthy carb choices there. Mm-hmm. So I usually go low carb. Chicken wings, I love their chicken wings. And chicken wings with salmon and double vegetables and a side salad, no croutons, with a light balsamic or Italian dressing.
And you're big on salads. Is that just to fill you up, or you really enjoy them?
Salads are great to eat to fill you up, just for extra the greens and leafy vegetables. Usually salad is very low in fiber, unless it's like a spinach or anything like that. It takes a lot of food to fill me up. So I typically just like a big thing is it's just eating the right things and not putting in all the calories all the time. And I just love salads. Me and old fake news Bennett, we always would get salads, wings, and a steak or something.
Nice.
Whenever we'd go eat at the old Ranch House Grill in Tampa. So.
Here's a new one, or not new one. Finding different stuff. What would you do if you're at a Denny's?
Denny's, easy. Egg whites, and typically with the egg whites, and I would ask them not to cook it in butter, which they will if you don't tell them. They usually put butter on. Yeah, you have to assume you're dealing with just they don't know. So if you give specific instructions, and you can taste the difference between egg whites cooked in butter and egg whites not cooked in butter. and I'll get eggs with egg whites added. And I typically don't do heavy carbs at these sorts of places, but occasionally I will, on days where I'm doing more carbohydrates. I'll make sure it's egg whites with no butter, and I'll eat wheat bread and oatmeal with raisins, and I'll have high carbs and I'll keep the fats as low as possible. I try to always keep them under 10 grams, and if you do that, usually you'll be okay. They like to smother things in butter, even your vegetables. In a lot of restaurants, you wonder why broccoli tastes better at most places. It's because they fucking smother it in butter. You need to tell them broccoli dry, please, no butter. Trust me, your love handles will think later.
Next one on the list, Chipotle. That can't sell it. There you
go. Usually they have the wheat tortillas there. They have the brown rice.
They do it. They have wheat tortillas at Chipotle? I haven't been there in so long.
They do. I believe they do. And what you can do is, and if I'm mistaken on this between Moe's and I'm pretty sure they do have the wheat tortillas there because I was just there recently. They do. The one in Vegas does. I don't do the ground beef or the steak because those are higher than fat. I do double grilled chicken. Chicken is always leaner than. So ground beef is typically the fattiest meat at these places. Steak is the next one. Chicken.
What
is
about
the
pork?
So what? Pork is very high fat usually. They do make a lean pork at grocery stores. Even that though is fattier meat. Even at 99% lean, it's still fatter than other meats. Or 96 is what I think a lot of the porks do for the grocery stores. But I go with. I want the leanest meat possible if I have to eat there, if I'm going to go carbohydrates with it. And so I'll go usually chicken, double chicken, brown rice, tortilla, and then vegetables, no sour cream, no cheese. There's a lot of fat in the sour cream and cheese. And I avoid it, and I just put extra salsa. Salsa makes it taste good.
All right. Here's one for Southern folk, Waffle House. What do you do there?
There's a lot of bad choices at Waffle Houses, but again, you can do egg whites there or eggs. They like to use a lot of butter. And if you've ever watched The Cooks, because you can, at a Waffle House, they throw a lot of butter on those grills. And you have to be very cautious of that, very conscious of that. So I just tell them, no butter, please. And they have the Pam cooking spray and stuff, and they could use that. And where you cut down on that tremendously. So I will usually do egg whites, wheat toast, or I will do eggs, bacon. I'll have some heavier fats on that if I go no carbs at a Waffle House. But I keep the don't mix your carb and fat rules in effect at all times, especially on the road.
I don't know if there'll be answers for this, but I'll throw it out there anyway. What about a KFC?
Probably one of the places I never go to.
They do carry grilled chicken though now.
They do, but their grilled chicken is and I've gotten it before. I haven't had it in years. It is just I could tell the quality of it doesn't taste right to me, and I'm not a huge KFC fan. Even on and I don't know what it is, and I know they've seen the videos of their chickens being you know what I mean, where their chickens are manipulated and where they do the cloning, and I don't know. It's just something with that food. There and again, if you're going for a cheat day, fuck it. I'm sure the fried chicken is amazing, and obviously it is because they wouldn't be in business. But I actually drove by one the other day and I saw a commercial for the golden honey mustard chicken, and I was like, oh, I bet those are pretty good for a cheat day, which I might do that, but or a cheat meal or something. But I other than that, no.
Looking around here, Hooters.
I was waiting for this. One of the favorites of the big guys on the road. So I always used to go wings and salads there, and I still do for the most part. But they have grilled mahi sandwiches, which is the fish, which is a very lean fish. So what I normally do now is do 10 chicken wings and 2 mahi-mahis, no bun. That way it's just pure protein, and the chicken wings have a lot of fat in them. But I'm not adding any more to it other than that. And I'll get a side salad, no croutons. And it is with a light dressing, and I'm very happy. And I know that it keeps me lean.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Again, I'm probably going there tonight to tell you. I went there, I got food, and I watched an episode of Lucha Underground last night. I usually go 10 to 20 wings, and they're grilled chicken tenders. You don't have to get the fried ones, you get the grilled, and you can get them tossed in like a medium or a mild sauce. Things like the garlic parmesan, I love the taste of it, but I think that has a little more fat in it. I try to always be conscious of that and go with like the meat. I like medium, and I've done the blazing. If you've seen the YouTube video of my hot wing eating contest back years ago with Curtis Axel filming it on our way from a house show in Kansas City to wherever we were going, we watched the Super Bowl at a Buffalo Wild Wings with like Roman Reigns and the Usos, and I won a chicken and wing eating contest against a bunch of kids, which I was ashamed. They were all adults there, and none of the adults entered the chicken wing eating contest. And I won whatever. I won some cool prizes, and I gave them away to the kids. So, like the beer fucking mirror, and like some kid has that hanging up in his room. Yeah.
All right, here's one. I'm really curious to see if there's anything. Taco Bell.
I don't go there that often. Outside of like, I used to go there for like a cheat, especially years ago. But what you can do is you can get grilled chicken or their chicken and their ground beef or steak put in a bowl with this, and I'll get a bunch of the salsa packets, and I just mix the salsa packets with it. That is a last resort, and I've had to do that every once in a blue moon. But they can do it. You get the bowl of just steak and chicken or ground beef and chicken, and put the mild or medium or hot sauce all over it, and I eat it. And maybe a little lettuce or something, but no cheese, no sour cream. And like, they actually give you pretty big portions there. And it's actually the cheapest place out of all of them for the amount of food that you get. So
the other ones, I don't know if there's a way to eat healthy. Like if I said Domino's Pizza, is there any way to eat healthy?
Chicken wings.
Wings, okay.
That way, no carbs. So that way, there's always an option to eat healthier. If that's the only place, and that's happened once on the road where the only thing I could find was a Wingstop and a Domino's on one other occasion, and I wasn't going to eat a pizza, but they had chicken wings, and I went with the naked chicken wings bone in, and that was it. And I just got enough of them to fill me up, and you get your fats and your protein, and that's all you need.
What about a Boston Market? That has a lot of choices.
I love Boston Market, and so their rotisserie chicken tastes really good for anyone that's ever had it because it has more fat. Grilled chicken breasts have a lot less fat than rotisserie chicken, and because they're different cuts of meat.
Is that across the board? Like a rotisserie chicken has more fat than any sort of really?
Yep.
Okay.
Look at the fat content at the grocery store of a rotisserie chicken. You will be blown away. It is up there. So I will do no carbs if I go to a Boston Market, and occasionally I've had it where I need carbs, and what I'll do is I'll eat a half chicken rather than a whole one, and I'll do their sweet potatoes, which is a complex a slower carbohydrate rather than a quicker digesting carbohydrate. But usually it's protein, no carbs there. Vegetables, they have vegetables. They're cooked in butter there. But again, it's the best that they have, and I've had to deal with that at times.
I think you answered this before. The last one I just had, not really a restaurant, but say you're at 7-Eleven. That's all you have, or a gas station. What do you do?
Yeah, again, your best bet is beef jerky, and if you need some more substance, is they typically will usually have baked chips, like the baked Lay's, and they have very low fat in them. I will do something like that to get a few carbs in me with the beef jerky. And that way I'm doing low fat and carbohydrates with my protein. So, which is better than nothing. Or you could do, a lot of these places have boiled eggs.
Yeah.
And you could do the egg whites, where you eat a bunch of the egg whites and or a bag of pretzels. Pretzels have no fat usually, or very little. So you do egg whites in a big bag of pretzels, and you're doing protein and carbs and little fats. So those are little tricks like that help out in times, rather than like, oh, well, I'll just have a Slurpee and fucking a bunch of junk. So, yeah. And avoid the chicken salad sandwiches, guys. Or the ham salad sandwiches. Yeah, they'll fuck you up.
That's all
especially in Jersey.
That's all I have. That's a pretty good run.
All right, I think
We're good.
Go ahead and social media. You want anybody to follow?
Yeah, you can. I've gotten a couple hundred followers since this show's happened. Follow me, Buck Never Stops, across all platforms. Leave a review on iTunes and all that stuff. Podcast.study. Help us out. And that's all I got.
And I am at Ryback22 on Twitter, the big guy Ryback22 on Instagram, and Ryback247 on Snapchat. Guys, you have just listened to another episode of Conversation with the Big Guy.